This young man with a face full of icy coldness is our protagonist, Ravi's Bindika. Not long ago, he received a mission from his father to go to the Hilt clan and bring back evidence of their betrayal. However, instead of doing that, the young man simply sent the entire clan to their grave. The result goes without saying. The young master was immediately hauled before his father to receive his due punishment. Inside the grand hall, his father roared, "Ravis, how dare you do such a thing? You ignorant fool, you don't even know your place. I told you to bring back proof of their treason, not to execute them." A Bindika daring to destroy the order of the demon realm. He asserted with a stern face, "This time you've gone too far." Those reprimands came from Gamud Bindika, the demon king. Even though his body was bound tightly, Ravis couldn't help but yell back, "What do you mean, father? This time the evidence was everywhere. You know it too. That Hilt lot was beyond saving. It's all because of those decrepit, old fogies kissing the Hilt's asses. Even with evidence, we wouldn't have been able to punish them. So many of their crimes have already been overlooked." Right then, a figure standing nearby darkened their expression, glancing at him with an inscrutable, calculating look. Gamud Bindika's face fell as he explained to his son, "Even an execution must follow proper procedure. Your subjective judgment is not part of that procedure." But those words didn't reach Ravis at all. He only displayed blatant contempt. Procedure, execution, ridiculous. Like he was falling into madness, his eyes blazed as he stubbornly blurted out, "Darkness devours shadows. Isn't that the very law of survival in the demon realm?" Those words instantly made the king wince, leaving him momentarily speechless. Sensing the silence, Ravis pressed further, raising his voice again. "Don't you, great demon king, if you can't even swallow the obvious darkness right in front of you, can Bindika still be considered the sovereign of the demon realm? You know full well that the order of this realm is being manipulated by the nobility." On the contrary, Gamud Bindika didn't agree at all, only sighing slowly, "I didn't expect you to be this short-sighted, truly ignorant." Ravi's frenzy didn't stop. As soon as his father finished, he continued, "Bindika can only exist when the Hilt family is eliminated. They've committed all sorts of atrocities just to seize the throne. Isn't that why you sent me to investigate? Instead of being like those cowards hiding behind the Hilts, closing their eyes to the hierarchy." Just as before, those words poured out, and the king fell silent once more. After reflecting for a long while, Gamud Bindika closed his eyes slightly before speaking with a sarcastic tone. "It's like talking to a brick wall. Your punishment has been decided by the 12 Dark Thrones." That decisive statement made Ravi stiffen as he repeated, "Punishment." Immediately after, the king lost his composure and shouted in a fury, "Ravis, for violating the laws of the demon realm and massacring the Hilt clan, you are banished to the human world." The sentence left him wide-eyed, muttering, "The human world." Ravis instantly fell into a state of panic, stammering, "Father, you're not joking, are you? Are you serious?" Despite the boy's shock, Gamud Bindika remained upright and firmly decreed, "Ravis, to pay for your sins, your powers in the human world will be sealed. Go there and learn the true dignity of a Bindika." As soon as the sentence was finished, frantic screams rang out. "No, father, while it's true I killed the Hilts, I didn't destroy their soul." But in the face of that denial, the king remained resolute. "What are you waiting for? Execute the sentence." The screaming didn't stop, even as countless magic circles were formed around him. "Damn it, this isn't fair. Stop this now. I can't go. I haven't done anything wrong." Weaving through the crowd, a figure let a smirk play on his lips, watching Ravi's scream in agony. Bam grew even more excited, lining in to whisper a taunt. "Have a nice trip, you disgraceful prince." His smile grew more sinister. "I'll take real good care of this place." Ravi spat out a curse through gritted teeth, "You bastard." As the words left his mouth, Ravi's let out a scream of pain that seemed to tear through space itself. Ravi's was sentenced to banishment in the human world under the laws of humanity. Ravi's was sentenced to banishment in the human world under the laws of humanity. 1. Be faithful to life within the imprisoned body. 2. Do not die before your appointed time. 3. Do not kill humans. Violation will result in the destruction of the soul. Scene change. A young man suddenly bolted upright with a face full of indescribable shock. Young Minyu's mouth was still wide open, letting out heavy, difficult gasps for air. His hands instinctively reached up in front of him in bewilderment, his fingertips tensing and trembling slightly. And then he suddenly coughed dryly. Immediately after, Young Minyu clutched his head and muttered, "Damn it, I've really ended up in the human world." He recalled Bam's smug face and cursed in his head. "That dog Bam, he actually dared to screw me over. When I get back, his horns are the first things I'm snapping off. Why does this human body ache all over?" Then Young Minyu slowly dragged himself out of bed, stood up straight and constantly inspected his current body, his tone full of disdain. "I'm stuck in the weakest vessel possible." He turned his head and snarled in his mind, useless hilt bastard. I can barely even breathe. Is there no sulfur around here? The door creaked open slightly, and a girl's head peeked in. Seeing Young Menu, she cried out, "Brother." Her eyes instantly welled up with tears as Young Minha ran toward him, throwing herself into his arms and sobbing, "Thank goodness, I thought you were never going to wake up." The sudden contact made him freeze up, thinking, who is this? Is she this body's family? Before he could finish the thought, another figure appeared. Young Minu's mother cupped her face with both hands, bursting into tears. "Thank God you're awake. You must have been in so much pain." Seeing this situation made Young Minu grimace, his mind racing. What is this scenario? What am I supposed to do now? They say the human world is one of the 3 great hells. Can I actually survive here? Before the thought could settle, another pair of feet stepped slowly into the room. Young Tisik, with his towering frame, spoke up, "You're awake." His appearance made the mother say worriedly, "Minu just woke up." In contrast, his gaze remained stern, making the boy stiff. Without waiting, he coldly turned away and said, "Get ready to go to school tomorrow. You've been lying around for a week. You'll have to work hard to catch up with your classmates." His abrupt departure left the mother bewildered, and she had to follow him, reminding him, "Honey, Minu is still weak. It's just good that he's awake." But facing Young Minu's expressionless face, Young Minha turned and asked, "Brother, how are you feeling?" In his head, he remembered the man's expression from just a moment ago. His face lit up with excitement. "I actually really like that guy. There are humans here just like demons, but that look on his face." Then Young Minu's gaze darkened with calculation. "I instinctively like him. I need to be careful before this body's memories return." Scene change. Under a clear blue sky, a school building sat below with the sound of chatter filling the air. "Minu, we're at school, so this is a school." His mother dropped him off at the gate, still unable to hide her worry as she cautioned him, "Call me if you don't feel well in class, okay?" Watching his back as he walked away, her eyes were filled with anxiety. On the other hand, Young Minu thought to himself as he walked, "The last time I went to school in the demon realm was 600 years ago. I can't believe at my age I have to go to a human school. This really is hell." But then he suddenly paused. Well, the human world is hell after all. In the classroom, Young Minu moved toward his seat, his thoughts never stopping. Right, humans barely even live past 100. I just need to live quietly so my soul doesn't get shredded. I've already bought time by wiping out the Hilt House. I just need to return and inherit my father's throne before the Bindika royal family falls into danger again. But while he was lost in thought, 2 classmates suddenly approached. "If it isn't Minu, it's been a while, hasn't it?" Hearing that tone, he turned around with an uninterested look. "What's this?" Tiwu suddenly leaned in, placing an arm on his shoulder and adding, "Does our Minu happen to have the absence fine with?" But the physical reaction of the body just now left him in total shock. His body had instinctively recoiled in fear. Suddenly, a stream of old memories flooded Young Minu's mind. A strange face appeared, then shifted to that guy's face as he smirked. Below that was this very body, cowering and trembling uncontrollably in terror. Only now did Young Minu snap out of it, his eyes wide. He looked back, his mind spinning. So the reason this body was injured was because of these dogs. While he was reflecting, Tiwu suddenly smacked him on the head from behind and mocked. "Hey, we're friends. What are you so scared of? Are you even more pathetic than before? It's been a while since we've seen each other, so greet us properly. Now, hand over the friendship membership fee." Young Minu hadn't even had time to react yet, his mind only thinking, "Don't tell me I'm being extorted." Another image of Sincha teaching flashed back. "Look up here. This is a human. Observe closely." Her words made the students rowdy. "No horns. How vulgar. They probably stink." Instead of correcting them, she agreed. "That's right. Humans are a very crude species. They will do anything to hide their own weaknesses. Furthermore, they are foolish enough to worship both demons and angels." Ravi's had also joined in the mockery back then. "We should just burn all those idiots to a crisp." Suddenly, Sincha created a brilliant magical flare, her voice booming. "Exactly, Ravi's. If you encounter humans, crush their vulgarity." Returning to the present, those memories made Young Minu seethe. A mere human dares to lay a hand on him. Meanwhile, Tiwu was still calmly scrolling through his phone nearby. An impulsive hand reached out and grabbed him by the hair. Instantly, he slammed Tiwu's head down onto the desk. Humans truly are stupid and moronic. Seung Hyan realized his friend was screaming, "Let me go," and froze in shock. Seeing this, he didn't hesitate to rush over, shouting, "Is this kid's head broken?" But when he looked, Young Minu's eyes suddenly flared red, leaving him stunned. "My mana is reacting." Meanwhile, Seung Hyan kept charging, his mouth never stopping the insults. "You dog, did you drink your own brain because you almost died? You want to die, don't you?" As the words left his mouth, Seung Hyan swung his arm, preparing a punt. He dodged it easily, but his eyes were still surprised. Look at that. Does human profanity stimulate mana? There is a connection between insults and mana. The thought barely finished before Yongminyu punched him straight in the face. Seung Hyan was instantly sent flying, his body slamming hard against the wall. The scene left the entire class gaping in shock. Yongminyu didn't care at all, looking at his hand and thinking, mana was supposed to be sealed in the human world. Yet even though this body is human, my mana still reacts to malice. Only then did Lim Sion speak up from behind, stammering, Minyu. Is this the Minyu I know? Tiwu, though beaten, wouldn't submit. He raised a chair high, intending to retaliate. You dare hit me, I'm gonna crush your skull. Lim Sion's eyes went wide as he screamed desperately, Minyu, behind you, watch out. He noticed just in time, glanced back, and immediately delivered a kick straight into Tiwu's stomach without any hesitation. Tiwu was doubled over from the blow, still unable to believe it as he cursed, how the hell? He glared at Yongminyu and spat out, you sissy bastard. But before Tiwu could finish, Yongminyu cut him off. I heard that humans become cruder when trying to hide their weaknesses. Do you really think shouting insults will make you stronger? With that, his legs swung back once more, and he kicked Tiwu straight in the jaw, snapping his head back. Another image flashed in Yongminyu's head. The source of the curses humans use comes from my mother. By now, Tiwu had been knocked out, lying flat on his back. The whole classroom fell into a panic. Whispers quickly flooded the room. Minyu took down Tiwu and Seung Hyan. What is happening? This is insane. In contrast, Yongminyu stood silently amidst the noise. And father said I just needed to live a quiet life and then go home. Suddenly, he turned toward the other classmates, standing on the other side, and asked, do any of you want to insult me? Let's find out. The classmates who witnessed Yongminyu's savage expression were instantly thrown into a state of panic and confusion. Is that really Minyu? Oh my god. Even Lim Sion froze in place, silently marveling. Is Minyu really that strong? While the others were busy gossiping about him, Yongminyu began to walk toward them with slow, deliberate steps. His face showed clear concern as he spoke up and asked, Yongminyu, are you okay? However, he didn't rush to answer. Instead, his lips curled into a slight smirk as he looked at Lim Sion's clueless face and thought, the person who wanted to help me just now would make a perfect attendant for me. With that sinister thought in mind, Yongminyu replied slowly, I'm fine. The scene shifts to the afternoon. A voice filled with praise wouldn't stop echoing. Seriously, though, how did you take down both of those guys? That was absolutely incredible. Minyu, did you just reincarnate into another world or something? But that joke made him stiffen. How did I get exposed? Meanwhile, Lim Sion continued to tease him, asking, was it a martial arts world or a game? In contrast, Yongminyu didn't reply but thought seriously. If my attendant has already realized my true identity. Then a stream of memories suddenly resurfaced. Two silhouettes were talking as they walked. Ravis, you must not kill humans in the human world. If you do, your soul will truly vanish. Why? Mistress Cynthia said we should crush the vulgar human race. Bam looked at him and explained slowly. She only said that to set the mood. We must not take human death lightly. We are the gods who manage the deaths of humans. But Ravis only shot him a glance and raised a question. But aren't humans already busy trying to kill each other anyway? Hearing that, Bam turned his face away, his voice showing clear acknowledgement. That is why they are ignorant and why we exist. He still didn't take his eyes off him, but instinctively let out a long, weary sigh. The two of them stood on a high vantage point, looking out at the distant scenery as their conversation continued. Killing a human leads to soul destruction. Why bother remembering that? I'm a demon god. There's no way I'd ever go to the human world. Returning to Yongminyu's reality, he looked up at the sky and thought privately, if I'm not allowed to kill people, how exactly am I supposed to shut them up? While he was struggling with that headache, Lim Sion beside him suddenly hung his head and muttered, it would be great if reincarnation were real. I wish I could just wake up in another world. Seeing the boy's voice trail off made him immediately realize he could smell the scent of extreme misery coming from this kid. Lim Sion kept walking with his head down, continuing his words. I know reincarnation stories are nonsense, right? But I know better than anyone how much you've had to endure before it finally reached the breaking point. But contrary to that gloomy mood, Yongminyu felt satisfied, thinking, good, so he doesn't know. Suddenly, a smile appeared on the boy's face as he slowly offered praise. You were really cool back there, Minyu. But that compliment felt like a knife to the ears as he thought with disdain, to be praised by a common human. The scene shifts to a different setting, in a high-rise apartment building. Yongminyu sat on his bed, but his thoughts kept racing. When that human insulted me, my mana definitely activated. A demon imprisoned in a human body isn't supposed to be able to use magic. He looked at his hand in confusion, How is this happening? Young Minu's gaze remained fixed for a long time, and then a smirk played on his lips as he silently marveled. It's just as I thought. His face immediately flushed as he fell into a state of narcissism. There are no limits for Ravi's here. But before his confidence could fully set in, he suddenly winced. Why does it hurt all of a sudden? Young Minu clutched his left arm as his entire body instinctively began to tremble. As the morning light filtered into the room, he was still curled up on the bed, looking exhausted. This weak vessel can't handle my power. Now my whole body is aching. His face was now twisted in discomfort as he thought, I've only lived as a human for one day, and it's already this miserable. Suddenly, Young Minu's eyes widened in distress before he thought irritably, how am I supposed to sleep if it hurts this much? Despite those words, looking back, he had already fallen into a deep sleep and was snoring away. Time passed continuously, from night to morning, and then to the afternoon. The setting returned to the school, a familiar sight. Young Minu and Lim Sion were walking together after school. Once again, the boy wouldn't stop praising him. It's been so long since we've had a peaceful day at school. Thank you, Minu. Because of you, no one messes with us anymore. Contrary to that gentleness, he spoke up in a surly tone. Whatever, I just want to crush them all. I want to test my power. As they were walking, a voice calling his name rang out. Young Minu. Hearing it, the two of them instinctively turned around slowly to look. Standing there was Tiwoo next to a tall young man who was tilting his chin up arrogantly. You're the one who hit my little brother, aren't you? I've been protecting you for so long, and this is how you repay me. Those words made Lim Sion, beside him, break into a nervous sweat. Beyond anyone's imagination, Young Minu suddenly looked delighted, making the other boy stare in shock. More insults. Right, call it that. Seeing this, the man began to turn around while saying, follow me. At a secluded corner of the school, a voice rang out again. Tiwoo, I told you already. He slapped the boy's head mockingly. Don't get yourself beaten. You got tattered by this weakling. The boy stammered in response, I'm sorry. As soon as he finished, he turned to look at Asta and asked loudly, Young Minu, what should I do with you? His face suddenly pressed close to Asta's as he growled, if I just let you go, how is my brother supposed to intimidate the kids under him? Then he reached out and poked Asta's forehead, adding, did your mother teach you to hit someone else's precious child like that, huh? However, Young Minu remained perfectly calm as he slowly replied, actually, she did. That blunt response made Tiwoo's older brother exclaim in surprise, you little brat. Suddenly, he raised his hand high, preparing to strike. You're laughing. That arm swung down so fast, it was only a hair's breadth away from Young Minu. But before it could touch him, Asta caught it firmly while thinking with amusement. Insults that bring up someone's mother really are the best. Afterward, he didn't let go, but squeezed the man's wrist tight. The immense pressure made him scream out in terror. What the hell is this? Young Minu didn't answer. He just swung his arm and thought, my noble mother, you have truly bestowed malice upon the tongues of men. He immediately delivered a blow to the man's face, sending him reeling back. Right after that, a flurry of punches was unleashed, each one aimed directly at. Violence only affects the physical body, but insults can gnaw at the very soul. These petty creatures are desperately calling out your name. Tiwoo, standing behind, began to get agitated and screamed, boss, you bastard. Even Lim Sion nearby was given a massive shock by Young Minu. As for the man, he was beaten black and blue, only able to turn and call for his lackeys. What are you guys standing there for? Get him now. Asta immediately recognized the intention and slowly assessed. Going for a gang-up, are we? His eyes suddenly snapped wide, his pupils glowing. Even better. Instantly, Young Minu lunged forward, taking down each one in the blink of an eye. The more malice there is, the stronger I become. Lim Sion, watching nearby, was so terrified he began to scream at the top of his lungs. That scream echoed through the nearly empty school. Only then did his arms slowly drop to his side. Young Minu tilted his face up and slowly caught his breath. With every one of them beaten to a pulp behind him, he spread his arms and remarked, that was refreshing. A stream of memories once again surfaced in his mind. Uncle bestowed violence upon everyone while mother created malicious words. Violence is good. Violence is truly the pinnacle. Now I understand why Uncle gave this to human. My thanks to you, Uncle. Lim Sion slowly approached from nearby and whispered, Minu. However, from a distance, a bright red light was pointing directly at Young Minu. Inside a small crevice was a rat. Its red eyes were glowing in a strange, eerie manner. In reality, those eyes had recorded the entire scene. As you can see, the task you assigned has been completed. That image was projected onto another screen as a voice rang out, my dear nephew, Ravi's. A foot crushed the head of a blue demon under its heel. Standing there was Bamb, wearing a delighted smirk. It seems you're quite fond of my gift." Nearby, Bam looked at him through the screen and added, "A demon bloodstone carved into the eye instead of a night stone. How much longer do you plan on enduring this?" Inside the castle, two mysterious figures were intently following Young Minu's image. That bastard Ravi's, he really wiped out the entire Hilt family. Bam turned his head to glance at the man behind him and spoke nonchalantly. "Ravi's always gets what he wants." Barca sat leisurely in his chair, smirking as he said, "Who could possibly control that stubborn brat?" Still, to throw him straight into the human world without a moment's hesitation, Gamud really shows no mercy. An image of Gamud Bindika appeared. Bam stood before a cracked stone basin, his voice somber. "When dealing with a high-level tyrant, only suppression by force is effective. That is the creed of great Demon King Gamut." Barca maintained his indifferent air, flicking his fingernails as he spoke. "The human world is where the demon realm exiles its worst criminals. Ravi's won't adapt easily." He hummed happily, thinking of the scene where he would torment his nephew until he cried, "When did that brat grow up enough to start causing trouble like this? Uncle, save me. What did you just say?" Bam suddenly turned to look directly at his master sitting, perched on the chair. "Is that why you bestowed the bloodstone upon him?" Then he suddenly spread his arms wide, his cloak fluttering in the wind. "Lord Barca, the preparations to summon the sinner exiled to the human world are complete." Barca heard this and grinned, revealing a set of perfectly white teeth. "Show me, Bam." Bam only gave a cold look and raised his hand. A stream of dark energy flew out from his hand, and a large orb of darkness slowly appeared before him. Streams of dark energy from all directions began to pour toward it like a torrential flood. Images of grotesque demons appeared as he spoke. "Once Ravi's has descended into the human world, he will sooner or later cross paths with them." Barca leaned on his arms and slowly stood up from the chair. He reached out his hand, and a small stream of dark energy was drawn toward him. Then the massive amounts of dark energy in the stone basin were rapidly absorbed by Barca. The thick, pitch-black streams of energy converged into a solid sphere in his palm. Young Minu's image once again appeared in Barca's mind, causing him to smirk with delight while absorbing the dark energy. "This is quite interesting, my nephew Ravi's. You're about to taste the true meaning of darkness." A bowl of food with spicy rice cakes and milk tea appeared. What the hell just happened? Young Minu had defeated even Tiwu's older brother that easily. Lim Sion's eyes were shining with admiration as he looked at the person opposite him. "That was incredible. I felt like I was watching a movie." Young Minu was practically moved to tears by the delicious food but still spoke tough. "So this is fire hell, nothing special." Lim Sion looked at him, a bit speechless. "But Minu, are you crying?" Young Minu replied stubbornly, "Idiot, this is just ice wet." Lim Sion chided him gently. "I told you we should have ordered the beginner level." Hearing that, he thought to himself while chewing, "A demon fleeing from hell doesn't deserve to be called a demon." The phone on the table suddenly vibrated violently, catching Lim Sion's attention. On the screen, an incoming call appeared. Mobile phone Jin Yihe. Seeing it, his face turned pale with fear. Young Minu, mouth full of food, asked, "What is it? Why aren't you answering?" Lim Sion bowed his head slightly and spoke urgently. "Minu, I just got an emergency call." He gave an awkward smile, grabbed his bag, stood up, and looked at him while he was still eating. "I'll go first, enjoy your meal." Lim Sion left under Young Minu's unhappy and dissatisfied gaze. His hands were trembling uncontrollably from whatever had frightened him. He watched Lim Sion leave while continuing to eat. It was dusk in a quiet, narrow alley. An old warehouse appeared, its outer door tightly shut, as if it hadn't been used in a long time. A tattoo needle was slowly being lowered. Jin Yihe was currently trying to tattoo the person lying on the bed, making them scream in pain. "Ah!" Jin Yihe heard this and said, "Don't move, it'll hurt." Horrific photos showing the pained faces of men covered the walls. "See, this is what happens when you don't pay your debts on time. You make me do extra work." Jin Yihe looked down at the exhausted face of the man below as if admiring a masterpiece and said happily, "All right, all done." The other person's eyes rolled back until the pupils nearly vanished, their entire face etched with an indescribable agony. "That worked out pretty well. Turns out your skin is quite tough, huh?" A shout from behind caught her attention, causing her to glance back. "Miss Jin Yihe, we've brought him here." Lim Sion was hauled forward, gripped by the shoulders by a large man. He looked at Jin Yihe and called out with a tremor in his voice, "Yihe." Seeing Lim Sion, Jin Yihe turned around gracefully and smiled, saying, "What's this? Why are you so late? Come here and take a good look." The brilliant glare of the surgical light shone down. Lim Sion, his face gripped tightly, clenched his teeth and struggled to resist. "Open your eyes wide and look closely." Jin Yihe forced him to look directly at the terrified face of the man below. "What do you think this means?" The words on the man's forehead appeared with absolute clarity. Do-in, meaning petty thief. Jin Yihe looked at Lim Sion's fear-stricken face and whispered gently into his ear, "This guy is being punished because he didn't pay his debts." Her voice suddenly turned bone-chilling, her face carrying a hint of madness that made Lim Sion tremble uncontrollably. "What about you, Lim Sion? How is our promise progressing?" He stammered a shaky reply, "Well." Lim Sion's eyes went wide with terror. Errors have been occurring constantly lately. A crisp slap rang out. He was struck by Jin Yihe so hard that his face flushed red, and he clutched his cheek as he collapsed to his knees. "Do you think this is a joke, huh?" Jin Yihe raised the tattoo needle high to inspect it, while simultaneously two burly men dragged Lim Sion up, causing him to scream in horror. "Why won't you just understand?" Lim Sion struggled in pain, trying to break free from the two men's grip. Jin Yihe adopted a look of manic thirst as she approached and lifted Lim Sion's arm. "Maybe I should carve it right onto the back of your hand, so you'll never forget." Hearing this, he began to cry, resisting even more violently as he pleaded in desperation. "No." Jin Yihe parted her lips slightly and said, "Hey, Lim Sion, listen very carefully." Jin Yihe slowly pulled the needle back, kneeling on one knee to look directly at Lim Sion. "This is the final chance I'm giving you. Do exactly what I told you." Jin Yihe gripped his hair tightly, leaning in close to whisper a threat, "And make sure everything is ready. Can I really pull this off?" The sky was blanketed in a silent black, adorned with shimmering stars. Lim Sion was currently sitting alone, in silence before his computer. Both of his hands clenched so tightly they were shaking violently. "But if I don't do this," Lim Sion used one hand to slowly grip the other trembling arm. He bit his lip, thinking to himself, "Then Jin Yihe will." Lim Sion continued to sit quietly before the glowing computer screen. The scene shifts to the exterior of a high-rise apartment building. Young Minyu was currently writhing on his bed, gritting his teeth. "My stomach. Is this what it feels like for someone who can't handle spicy food?" Sweat poured down his face like a waterfall, his teeth clenched as if they might shatter, his stomach feeling like it was on fire, and his whole body felt like it was breaking apart. "I barely fought at all, and yet my shoulder feels like it's about to dislocate." Young Minyu reached out and ripped the shirt off his body, tossing it aside. This pathetic, weak body. He frantically began doing push-ups in hopes of dulling the pain, telling himself, "I Ravi's Bindika absolutely cannot collapse because of something like this." Then Young Minyu began doing sit-ups with gritted teeth. "I will overhaul this garbage vessel at any cost." His eyes rolled back and he roared with determination. "No amount of pain will make me submit." The early morning sunlight hit the clouds, creating a magnificent view. Outside a high school campus, within a hallway, Lim Sion stood silently, staring down at the object in his hand. In his hand now was an extremely outdated cell phone. Lim Sion looked at it anxiously and tightened his grip. This app. His eyes were filled with apprehension. "It's too dangerous." The image of Jin Yihe's dark face resurfaced. "Make sure everything is ready." Lim Sion bowed his head, clutching the device in his hand. He squeezed his eyes shut and gritted his teeth in distress. "What am I supposed to do?" A hand suddenly landed on Lim Sion's shoulder, making him let out a startled cry. "Hey, Sion." Young Minyu cast a cold gaze down at the person below. "What's up with you? Why the huge jump?" Lim Sion glanced at him, a thought flashing through his mind. Maybe I should ask Minyu for help. Young Minyu's eyes remained cold as he looked at him. Lim Sion gritted his teeth and dismissed the thought. No. He suddenly thought of Jin Yihe and those associated with her. Even Minyu would be in danger if he got involved with Jin Yihe. Lim Sion kept his head down, teeth clenched, unaware that Young Minyu was watching him with a look of utter confusion. "I can't let Minyu get dragged into this." A long strand of hair suddenly brushed past, making Young Minyu flinch. "Wait, this scent." A girl tripped and was falling headfirst right in front of the two of them. "I've smelled this somewhere before." Lim Sion saw this and screamed, "Seunjai." He rushed to the girl's side. "What happened? Are you okay? Wake up." Lim Sion hurriedly turned the girl over. "Where are you hurt?" Seunjai's face was now pale, her body seemingly unconscious as she let out a manic laugh. Seeing this, Lim Sion was instantly terrified and backed away. One of Young Minyu's eyes suddenly turned red. Demon energy. Why is it inside a human body? A man came rushing over from a distance. "Seunjai, what's going on?" The teacher hurriedly hoisted Seunjai onto his back and said worriedly, "Hang in there, I'm taking you to the infirmary." That hair brushed past again, causing Young Minyu to startle. On Seunjai's trembling arm, a pitch-black sigil appeared. That mark, his eyes widened in shock. How could the hilt family crest appear on a human? Young Minyu's red pupil shifted as he watched the figures disappear into the distance. "I need to confirm this." Night fell once again, at the city's large hospital. A pair of long legs strode down the silent hallway, making the person sitting on the bench jump and look up. Seeing the newcomer about to open a patient's door, a female security guard nearby hurried to stop him. Wait. She looked at the young man with his hood pulled low and asked politely, "Are you a friend of Seunjae? She needs to rest, so visitors aren't allowed right G.I. letter 1ed. The young man turned to face her, leaving her stunned. Young Minyu activated his mana, one eye turning red, his voice carrying an irresistible allure. Fall into oblivion. The guard was instantly struck by the mana invading her mind and became motionless. Her eyes rolled back, her pupils slightly reddened by the mana manipulating her psyche. The guard slowly sat back down in her original position. She stared blankly ahead, not even noticing as Young Minyu took it upon himself to open the door. He nudged the door open and glanced back at the guard. The mana is faint, but at this level it's still usable, if only temporarily. Young Minyu entered the room, and the door shut with a soft click. Seunjae, sitting on the bed, startled and looked at him. She spoke up unhappily as Young Minyu calmly approached. "What? Who are you?" He didn't answer her, only asking coldly in return, "Just who are you, exact?" Seunjae glared at Young Minyu with sheer annoyance. "What? Why did you just barge in here?" His hand suddenly snapped out and gripped her arm. Seunjae screamed in pain. "That hurts, damn it." Young Minyu said nothing, merely casting a dark, downward gaze at Seunjae. He gripped her wrist tight and hoisted it up, revealing the sigil. Why does a mere human bear the crest of the Hilt family? Seunjae furrowed her brows in discomfort. "What the hell are you talking about?" Young Minyu lost his patience and glared at her warningly. "If you don't want things to get even worse, tell me the truth." His red eye blazed in the darkness. "What is your true identity?" Seunjae was scared out of her wits by this display. Her eyes bulged, and cold sweat began to pour down her face. "Lids." Seunjae trembled as she glanced at the demonic silhouette behind Young Minyu, a demon. Seunjae's whole body shook as she looked at the man before her and stammered. Young Minyu lost his patience, staring her down threateningly. By now, Seunjae was a mess of tears and snot as she looked at him and replied, "I really don't know anything. Yihi." Jin Yihi's scheming face surfaced in her mind once again. "He told me I had to get this tattoo if I wanted to join their gang, and said he'd give me weight loss pill." Young Minyu glanced at the girl trembling before him and thought, "There is a very faint scent radiating from her." His red pupil became ice cold and piercing. "It's definitely the scent I smelled in the demon realm." The torch on the wall had been extinguished at some unknown point. Ravi's and two figures were silently walking through an endless hallway. One of the two suddenly spoke. "Are you going to lead the way?" Bam looked around nervously. "This area is forbidden." Ravi's, displeased, turned his head to look at Bam, causing him to flinch and quickly shut his mouth. He looked at him and let out a disdainful smirk. Cowardly Bam. Bam was so angry his body shook, but he couldn't talk back and had to swallow his rage. He suddenly shouted, "I'm not scared, I just don't want to be punished." Ravi's replied calmly, "Then leave." Bam looked at the arrogant youth before him and spoke with difficulty. "I don't want to. With your personality, if I leave you alone, you'll definitely cause trouble." He glanced around anxiously. How much further? The two finally reached a dark, dull entrance. Bam looked around and suddenly asked, "Ravi's, did you know?" Ravi's replied indifferently, "I know nothing, tell me first." Bam adopted a mysterious air, glancing about. "Being in the dark reminds me of a story about those who possess eyes that exceed the limits of their species." Ravi's Bindika, walking ahead, also stopped and glanced back to listen. Bam kept rambling to himself as they walked. "According to what I know, there are two ways they lose their sight. One is that light is so bright it blinds them. The other is they see nothing at all, and their eyes gradually degenerate in a dark place like this." A signal from the person ahead made him go silent in shock. Ravi's held out a hand to signal for silence, pressing himself to the side and peeking in. "There's something here." Both of them tilted their heads to look at the flower sitting on a hand in the distance. Bam glanced over and asked in a shaky, low voice, "What is that?" Ravi's courageously stepped forward, getting closer to see. Meanwhile, Bam stayed back in terror, warning him frantically, "It's dangerous." A deep purple flower appeared. Both of them looked at the flowers below. Bam spoke up with a tremor, "Isn't this Jeremy Hilt?" Ravi's looked at the condition of the person on the ground and gave a blunt verdict. "Look at his state, he's already dead." Jeremy Hilt's entire body was blue, with flowers now competing to bloom all over him. A hand reached out curiously to touch a flower. "But what are these flowers? Don't touch it," Bam screamed in fear. The hand firmly plucked the flower from Jeremy Hilt's body. Ravi's held the flower in front of him and covered his nose in disgust. "This smell." Bam suddenly cried out in horror as he looked at the flower in his hand. "This is a man-eating flower." Back to reality. Young Minyu's gaze remained cold as he looked down at the person below. The The smell is exactly like a man-eating flower. Seunjae was now like a madwoman, able only to clasp her hands and plead through tears. Please spare me. He watched her silently as she trembled in terror on the bed. Outside the room window, a demon was hanging upside down from a tree, its red eyes staring directly at Youngmin. It glared at him. Ravi's, we meet at last. Its gaze suddenly turned sinister. I have been looking forward to this moment. The abandoned old factory area appeared again. Youngmin walked inside alone in silence. He stood before a door and peeked in. This is Jin Yehi's tattoo parlor. The hilt crest and the man-eating flower. Could it really just be a coincidence? An image of an emergency exit sign appeared. A group of people strode arrogantly down the hallway of a dilapidated apartment complex. Lim Sion, why is Youngmu so obsessed with that high school kid? He doesn't need the kid. What he wants is the app he made. The blonde leader spoke up arrogantly. So it's high-tech now. He squeezed the blue candy in his hand. Huh, blue ribbon. Youngmu just developed that recently. A man beside him snarled back. Use it sparingly, you freak. Didn't you hear about Ju Seunghai yesterday? It's a brand new product, so the side effects are intense. The two of them chatted happily as they walked. Who cares, as long as it's a rush, you idiot. On the blonde man's neck, a familiar sigil appeared. Youngmin cast a cold glance at the group. That smell again and the hilt crest. The two men continued arrogantly down the hallway. Youngmin suddenly appeared, blocking their path. Did you guys get those tattoos at Jin Yihee's place too? The blonde man approached, chin up. Huh, who the hell is this? He stepped in front of Youngmin and taunted. Hey, are you a friend of Yihee's? The blonde man reached out to touch his face. You'd better know your place. Youngmin's red pupil suddenly flared. He swiped the man's hand away and unexpectedly delivered a powerful slap that left his cronies behind him too stunned to react. The man was struck so hard, he collapsed to the ground under the horrified gazes of his companion. One of his followers immediately shouted in rage. You brat, who sent you? Youngmin said nothing, merely lunging forward with a clenched fist toward the man. He was punched before he could even defend himself and coughed up blood as he fell backward. Another man tried to charge. You're crazy. He rushed at Youngmin. You want to die. He swung a fist in anger, but Youngmin dodged it easily. Then Youngmin delivered a direct punch right to the middle of the man's face. The man screamed in pain and collapsed. The remaining man saw this, drew a knife, and tried to lunge. He gripped the knife and charged straight at him. Take this. Youngmin nimbly spun around and delivered a powerful spinning kick to the last man's neck, making him drop the knife. Having finished the fight, he only cast a cold look at the group lying scattered on the ground. Youngmin asked coldly, where is Jin Yehee? The blonde man, who had managed to get back on his feet, growled in a rage. God damn it, kill him now. His face became hideously contorted with madness. I'm going to kill you. Youngmin was slightly taken aback and stared intently at the man. What? Did his demon energy just flare up? He lunged straight at Asta like a rabid dog. As Youngmin raised his hands to defend himself, he thought, his movements have changed. Did that drug enhance his physique? His red pupils dilated as he cursed inwardly. Damn it. The night sky remained as quiet and desolate as ever. Jin Yehee stood before someone lying on a sofa and spoke up. The app isn't finished yet. I'm sorry. The man beside her chimed in as well. I guarantee it won't take much longer this time. Youngmu, lying on the couch with a hand over his forehead, spoke with pure disgust. I feel like I've heard that one before. Furthermore, Jin Yehee glanced sideways at the man kneeling and trembling beside her. We caught the guy who was skimming the blue ribbon supply. The man desperately cried out, Mercy, I was wrong, please spare me. He looked at Youngmu and pleaded, please give me one more chance, I won't screw up again. Youngmu didn't answer, but merely glanced at the blue roses on the table. He reached out and grabbed the entire bouquet from the vase. The bouquet was lifted with effortless grace. The man was now trembling and weeping on the floor. He looked up and begged, please, I beg you, spare me. Then he began to shake his head frantically in resistance as he saw what was in front of him. No, stop. Youngmu held the bouquet and forcefully raised it high above the man. Then he slammed the bouquet down without hesitation. A spray of crimson blood erupted as two roses were thrust directly into the man's eyes. Standing to the side, even Jin Yehee was too terrified to speak. The man continued to shiver and wail, help, help me. Youngmu raised the remaining cluster of roses. A gruesome, bloody scene unfolded instantly. The man's screams echoed throughout the room. He collapsed onto the ground immediately. Youngmu looked at the corpse and said coldly, that's right, there are no second chances here. Then he turned to look at everyone else, leaving their faces pale with fear. I believe everyone understands that. Even Jin Yehee didn't dare speak a word as her face turned white. Correct. Youngmu gave a cold, commanding glare. Yehi, no more excuses, bring it here. She replied fearfully, yes, I understand. The night sky outside the abandoned factory appeared once again. Jin Yehi was packing back and forth anxiously. Damn it, I'm finished if this keeps up. She gritted her teeth and cursed in frustration. Lim Sion, pick up the phone, you bastard. The phone vibrated incessantly. Lim Sion, sitting nearby, suddenly noticed it. He looked at it with a face full of anxiety. Then he slowly reached out to pick up the phone. Lim Sion's voice wavered, hello. The blonde man was currently beaten black and blue. Young Minyu sat on top of the blonde man and remarked nonchalantly, I intended to investigate this myself, but the brats here wouldn't listen. The person on the other end was shocked. Huh, what? Young Minyu only asked coldly in return, you know Jin Yehi, don't you? Young Minyu spoke indifferently into the phone. You were the one who answered Jin Yehi's call back then, weren't you? On the other end, Lim Sion asked in surprise, what, Jin Yehi? Why would you? Asta stood up. Behind him, the thugs lay scattered across the floor. He said casually, it showed up right on the screen. Do you know where she lives? Lim Sion asked hurriedly, how do you know Jin Yehi? Don't tell me those people have already found you. Young Minyu denied it quickly. No, it's not like that. He explained as he walked, I'm the one looking for her. I have something to confirm. The boy asked worriedly, you're looking for her yourself. Where are you right now? Asta replied flatly, at Jin Yehi's tattoo parlor, but she's not here. Suddenly, something caught his attention. At the top of the stairs, a white cat was standing there. It froze the moment it met Young Minyu's gaze. Meanwhile, Lim Sion was anxiously putting on his jacket to go meet him. Minyu, whatever you do, don't get involved with Yehi. I'm coming to you right now. Asta asked back in surprise, huh? Young Minyu hung up and glanced toward the cat. At that moment, the white cat was pretending to play with a golden bell. The cat's entire body was trembling. He approached it. Hey you furball. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Then he stepped forward and scooped it up. Holding it so it faced him, he asked, you understand what I'm saying, don't you? The white cat pretended to let out a few meows. He stared intensely at it and said, say it so I can understand. Making it shiver in fear, the cat finally cried out, yes, sir. Young Minyu crossed his arms and interrogated it. First a rat, yesterday a demon, and today a cat. Just what exactly are you? I am. Only then did she reveal her identity. I am a supervisor from the demon realm sent to the human world. My mission is to monitor prisoners without being detected. Street gestured wildly as she explained. That's why I was secretly observing you, Lord Ravi's. She looked at Young Minyu and thought, his demon energy is so weak, is he really a demon? Street asked curiously, but I don't understand how Lord Ravi's managed to detect me. He replied flatly, because you're too conspicuous. Young Minyu added, and you're standing on two legs. Only then did she realize it and panicked. Oh crap. He looked up, knowing asking more wouldn't help. His red eye fixed on Street. The master of this creature, reveal yourself. Instantly, her eyes went wide. On the other side, Bamb was sitting at a desk. He let out a low chuckle, faster than I thought. He mocked, Lord Ravi's is quite quick, isn't he? Asta grumbled, Bamb, is this you're doing again, you bastard? Bamb continued to tease, calling your friend a bastard. How cold. Young Minyu interrogated him. Bamb, what are you plotting this time? He leaned back lazily in his chair. Me, plotting, I'm not doing anything. Asta sighed, never mind, I need to ask you something. The scene returned to Asta and Street talking. Everything is different from what I remember. Can prisoners not usually use mana in the human world? She thought for a moment. Mana, well, every rule has its exceptions. Bamb replied non-committally, you'll understand soon enough. Anything else you want to ask? Young Minyu added, actually, that scent is very strong in this world. Bamb, if you've smelled it before, then you must know it's a forbidden flower even in the demon realm, yet I sense it here. He rested his chin on his hand thoughtfully. The demon realm administrators know the Hilt family's influence has reached the human world. They are spies, so you can't say they've been entirely wiped out. Young Minyu looked up and added, so it really is the Hilts again. You mean their remnants are in the human world? Bamb ran a hand through his hair. Ravi's. He explained, the human world isn't what it used to be. It's a playground for all sorts of conspiracy. Bamb clasped his hands together. This actually works out perfectly. Since you're already there, why not just wipe them out while you're at it? Asta was completely taken aback. What? Wipe them all out? What the hell are you saying? Young Minyu asked further. Hey Bamb, tell me clearly what exactly is going on. Suddenly, the cat started meowing again. He glared at the cat in annoyance and cursed under his breath. Damn it. Night fell. In a corner of the city, Jin Yehi was angrily staring at her phone. He's not answering. Time is running out. She screamed in a rage, that damn Lim Sion. Has he lost his mind? He's not picking up the phone. Jin Yehi tapped her phone repeatedly. What a pain. She hissed under her breath at Lim Sion. you're dead meat. Meanwhile, Seong Jun was at a PC bang when he received a call. Jin Yihe, what is it? On the other end, she shouted, Seong Jun, get to the office right now. Jin Yihe clenched her fist in anger. We're going to catch that bastard Lim Seon. The sky was filled with heavy clouds today. Young Minyu spoke up. Since you're a supervisor, you must have a lot of information about the human world, right? Street broke into a sweat. I suppose so. Since we take turns monitoring prisoners, I get regular updates on basic info, and my tracking ability is decent. Young Minyu said, change back to your original form. She asked in surprise, wait, what? What about it? He immediately took on a threatening expression. Do you want me to help you? She quickly declined, no, sir. Then she clasped her hands together, emitting a pink light that blinded. Street transformed into a cute little girl with sea blue hair. Her feet slowly touched the ground as she walked up to him. Young Minyu looked at her and thought, she looks so weak. But Bam must have a reason for sending you. He asked, what is your name? She bowed her head sadly. I don't have a name of my own. His face remained expressionless. Street, that is your name because I picked you up off the street. Never forget where you came from. Her eyes went wide with joy. Street, my name. She stepped closer to him and said happily, I understand, Lord Ravi's. Thank you very much for nomming me. He asked further, now, tell me everything you know about the human world. Street replied obediently, yes, sir. Outside the city, Lim Seon ran through the streets, drenched in sweat. Minyu is in danger. I should have refused to the very end. He remembered holding a bouquet and a trophy. He thought to himself, I can't believe I actually won. Suddenly, someone called Lim Seon's name. Was it Jin Yihe? He was standing in the middle of a group of thugs. Jin Yihe added, you're the developer who won the prize, aren't you? I heard the reward was only 50 million. Jin Yihe smirked. You're a valuable asset now. Throw him in the car. Lim Seon's face was full of panic. He let out a scream as the flowers were dropped behind. Lim Seon was forced into the car, with several guards stationed outside. Youngwoo spoke from the back seat. What are you shaking for? This is just a business transaction. Look beside you. Next to him was a suitcase containing 50 million in cash. Hand over the app you made. Although terrified, he still protested. I didn't make it to sell. Youngwoo looked out the car window and said nothing. After a moment, he spoke. That's just your opinion. Lim Seon was trembling, sweat pouring down his face. Back to the present, he was running as fast as he could down the street, thinking to himself, I have to get there fast. I can't let him meet Jin Yihe. Suddenly, he bumped into someone. Lim Seon gasped in panic. I'm so sorry. Suddenly, his eyes went wide. Seong Jun stood there with his hands in his pockets. Well, look at that. The prey just served itself right up to me. Lim Seon stood beside him, paralyzed with fear. Jin Yihe spoke up from behind Lim Seon. She looked at him with an eerie gaze. You're finished this time, kid. He whimpered in terror. No. Lim Seon's blood-curdling scream echoed through the dark night. Jin Yihe stood looking down at him and ordered, from now on, your only job is managing this app. If you don't want to be locked up for the rest of your life, you'd better do it right. Lim Seon bolted upright in a panic. Wait, stop. Although he wanted to plead, she ignored him and walked away. We'll be monitoring your every move from the outside, so don't try anything stupid. Lim Seon sat slumped on the ground, staring at the closed door. No. He gritted his teeth and squeezed his eyes shut. It's all over. Seong Jun folded his arms outside the door, looking in with a skeptical tone. Is that guy really a programmer? He looks so green. Standing beside him, she didn't quite believe it either, but repeated the instructions. They said if we want to distribute Blue Ribbon, we need him. The man asked indifferently. The app he made is called I'm Here. How does that have anything to do with distribution? Lim Seon was smacked in the head by the guards for not working. He looked like he was about to burst into tears but didn't dare. He could only obediently comply. Meanwhile, the people outside ignored him and gossiped. Even the name sounds like total trash. The app interface appeared on the screen, featuring illustrations of a male and a female figure. Youngmoo walked over from a distance to check on the situation. Is everything ready? He looked through the transparent glass, observing the interior. What Lim Seon created is the core of the Blue Ribbon project. As long as we have the buyer's data in our hands, we can manipulate the market however we want. Their eyes were filled with ambition. He briefly explained the app's capability. The real-time location sharing feature in I'm Here will be the primary weapon for expanding our business. Seong Jun folded his arms and smiled broadly. So we're finally starting to sell Blue Ribbon, boss. Youngmoo lowered his eyes to look at his hand. His fingers toyed with the blue candy as he replied in a somber voice. That's right, Blue Ribbon. He gave a sinister smirk, imagining a future vision. It's time to show the whole world. Soon after, the school was thrown into a total frenzy. Hey, Choi Yuri, sign up for this and add me as a friend. What is it? The student showed her phone screen. You get a 30,000 won cashback just for accepting a friend request. Hearing about money, the girls' eyes lit up. They were all excited, heedless of the hidden dangers. Oh my god, really? You get 100,000 won just for adding 3 people. This is insane. I want in too. Hey Park Hyman, get over here and add me right now. One person hesitated. What is this for exactly? But she was met with anger. Just do it when you're told. Look, all 3 of us are joining in on the fun, and there's even a sign-up event. On the screen were words designed to lure adolescent girls. Diet pills. Blue Ribbon I'm Here sign-up event. Sign up now and receive free Blue Ribbon weight loss products. This is a functional food certified by the Ministry of Food and Drug Safety. Blue Ribbon? Even the name is pretty. Oh my god. On the other side, Jin Yi-hee was in disbelief. What is this? How did the number of users increase this much in just one day? She looked at her phone and laughed with joy. This is crazy. Seeing this, Seong-jun took it to look as well, as expected of boss Youngmoo. While Youngmoo was immersed in joy, Jin Yi-hee suddenly bolted up and asked irritably, "Anyway, haven't you caught that bastard who trashed my shop yet?" The men cleaning up the aftermath reported cautiously, "Actually, I checked the cameras, but..." She pouted, skeptical of their words. A demon? How could there be a demon there? So they went to the security room. Look at this. On the screen was a large, round demon right in front of the camera. Is that thing looking straight into the lens? Jin Yi-hee asked crossly, "What about the other cameras?" The employee awkwardly pulled up the other feeds for her. Crows and rats were taking turns crowding the screen, making her explode in rage. That damn rat. Jin Yi-hee furrowed her brows and screamed, "What the hell is this?" Suddenly, Seong-jun's phone vibrated. He opened it to see a message. He called out, "Yi-hee." She turned around irritably. What? What he said made Jin Yi-hee freeze, her previous anger forgotten. "Let's go. I heard the new shipment of Blue Ribbon just arrived." As the afternoon sun began to set, Young Minyu stared blankly at the ground. He asked her helplessly, "Hey, Street, what on earth are you doing down there?" She quickly transformed into human form and explained, "Lord Ravi's, I've put on a little weight lately." He didn't care and asked the main question, "Where is the investigation I assigned you yesterday?" Street spoke excitedly in a single breath. "It wasn't easy at all, but I finally traced it." Young Minyu only gave an indifferent reply. "Is that so?" At that moment, he had just knocked out a man carrying Blue Ribbon pills on his person. Young Minyu leaned down and picked them up. He carefully held them to his nose to sniff. "I knew it, the scent of a man-eater." Then he looked down at the blonde man with the smashed nose. "So they've been using this to awake." Young Minyu furrowed his brows in thought. "But you can't cultivate a man-eater without a host. How did they get their hands on a flower that was wiped out even in the demon realm?" Street rambled on with the information she had uncovered. "The candy you told me to investigate is called Blue Ribbon. It's spreading through the human world in various forms like diet pills and supplements." He continued to ask, "What about the raw materials?" She looked at his face anxiously and reported cautiously, "Since Blue Ribbon is produced with extreme secrecy, it's very hard to trace the source of the material." Young Minyu's face twisted in anger as he looked at her. "What? So you haven't investigated anything useful at all?" Street was so terrified she didn't dare move. "It's not like that." She explained tearfully, "The finished products are being distributed at a staggering speed and in massive quantities. We just need to follow the dense traces of demon energy to find the production site." He stepped forward and poked her forehead, questioning her. "Then you should have been there ages ago, shouldn't you?" Street didn't dare argue, only stating the truth. "That's because Lord Bamb told me to stay with Ravi's." Hearing that name made him frown in annoyance. "What, Bamb? Are you reporting everything to him?" She clutched her reddened forehead and stammered a plea. "I'm sorry, Lord Ravi's. I'm just a lowly creature forced to obey both of you." Young Minyu put his hands in his pockets and asked seriously, "Street, choose right now. Me or Bamb, who is your true master?" She stammered with tears in her eyes. I. At this moment, he looked exactly like a demon inviting her to his side. "If you choose me, I'll make it so you're no longer just a lowly creature." Street imagined herself becoming a noble lady, holding a fan and laughing haughtily. So she bowed her head to him. "I offer my flesh and blood to you, my lord." Young Minyu smiled triumphantly. "Good. I, Ravi's Bindika, take you as my private subordinate." She opened her eyes and looked at him as her master. After those words, Bam's silhouette flew out of her head. He smirked, dismissing the intruder. "Get lost, Bam. Now let's head to the place where Blue Ribbon is being gathered." She immediately replied, "Yes, sir." From twilight until it was pitch black, she led Young Minyu to a desolate place filled with many large cardboard boxes. Street ran toward a red box and said, "It's here, the place where the demon energy of Blue Ribbon is most concentrated." He followed and ordered her, "Open one and let's see." She hesitated because of the chains wrapped around the box, but the lock was. Young Minyu didn't use words, he used action. Move. He unleashed a punch, and in one blow, dozens of chains shattered. The lock was broken, and the door swung open accordingly. Street used her nose to sniff for anything strange. Both of them quickly covered their noses and backed away. A stench made them want to gag. Looking at the boxes piled up inside, the sight was haunting and indescribable. Street furrowed her brows in disbelief. All of this is Blue Ribbon. Even the protagonist's expression became extremely grim upon witnessing this. Barca's laughter echoed across the entire mountain. He delivered a relentless barrage of punches and kicks to Ravi's while taunting. All you can do is hold up your arms and defend. My dear, arrogant nephew Ravi's, you're just as pathetic as ever. His arms were swollen from the beating, yet he couldn't land a single counterblow. At that time, Ravi's was still just a child, so his reckless defiance was only natural. You really are a vulgar, terrifying old man. Barca stepped back, channeling all his strength into this final strike. If you only exist in this world because of your cuteness, then you might as well die. Staz's eyes widened as he raised his arms to block. The moment the punch connected, his face went pale from the sheer intensity. Despite that, Ravi's refused to surrender and continued to hold his ground. Seeing the boy's unwavering determination, a satisfied smile spread across the man's face. But in the end, Barca still punched him right off the cliff. A blood-curdling scream echoed through the air. Seeing himself plummeting from a height of 1,000 meters, he shouted a curse at the top of his lungs. You damn old man. Barca stood at the edge of the cliff looking down, doubled over in laughter. Is that how you plan to die? Then Barca launched himself off the cliff, following him down. Ravi's hit the ground trembling, in too much pain to even speak, while the man landed as light as a feather, not forgetting to check in, dead yet Ravi's. He pouted in anger, but then something else caught both of their attention. Barca looked into the distance and saw numerous flowers blooming. Man-eater. They're here. Ravi's bolted upright, staring at them with wide eyes. His expression shifted from surprise to creeping terror. When light and darkness were separated, no creature could exist on the opposite side. Yet other entities were born that could not be absorbed by either side. At some point in time, the ancients looked down together at that peculiar object. The first flowers bloomed as they converged. They scratched their heads, wondering how flowers could grow on a human body. Furthermore, the corpses looked as if their very souls had been drained, and their purpose for existing, the thing that devoured fallen angels and corrupt demons, was to destroy the world. These flowers looked beautiful on the outside, but their true nature was terrifying enough to make one shudder. Uncle and nephew stood before the roaring fire. Barca folded his arms and smiled, while Ravi stared ahead with a grim expression. Yongminyu covered his nose and muttered, "They should have all been burned back then." Street, standing beside him, agreed, "I think so too, Demon King. But why are there so many of them? I wonder how many shipping crates full of these flowers are in here." He turned and asked her, "Did these flowers grow in the human world from the start? Do you know?" Street was startled, having no idea. This is an intermediate place where light and darkness mix. The human world belongs to neither side and can be traveled through from anywhere. He stroked his chin thoughtfully. According to human history, mankind had dealt with them 1,000 years ago, but in reality. Yongminyu narrowed his eyes and glanced behind him. If they're appearing in both worlds simultaneously, then someone has definitely interfered. She frowned and followed his gaze. Indeed, someone. A man switched on a flashlight, the beam hitting them both and causing Street to squint in discomfort. A group approached from the distance. The man with the light pointed aggressively and shouted, "Where did that voice come from? How dare you come here? Do you know where you are?" Then someone recognized Street and hurried to report to Jin Yihe. "Damn it, Yihe, it's that bitch, the one who came to the tattoo shop." She also recognized the leader and pointed her out to Yongminyu. "That's Yihe, Lord Ravi's." Jin Yihe furrowed her brows and interrogated them loudly. "How dare you trash my shop? And how the hell did you find this place?" He ignored the question about the shop and asked only about the contents of the crates. "Jin Yihe, are you the one managing this inventory?" The woman spat a curse at him. "What's this idiot talking about? And what if I am?" Yongminyu asked further, "Do you know the source material?" Jin Yihe burst into laughter at the question. "The source material? What, are you trying to steal my trade secrets now?" He let out a long sigh of annoyance. "Even if it's none of my business." His eyes suddenly turned cold and serious. Leaving this alone would be a bit of an eyesore. She reached into her pocket for something, swearing as she did, "You bastard, you know what happens if you cause trouble in front of Youngmu again, right?" She pulled out a handful of blue ribbon pills for her subordinates. "Look at this, a special gift." They stared at the pills with greedy eyes. One of them even asked in disbelief, Are you really giving these to us?" Jin Yihe smirked and ordered, "Shut up and swallow." The space fell silent, filled only with the sound of the four men chewing and swallowing. Young Minyu commanded her, "Street, with your current mana level, you're just a burden. Find a place to hide." She quickly ducked away, understood Demon King. After consuming the pills, those people suddenly transformed into different beings. Their eyes went vacant, and they wore eerie smiles as if wanting to devour him alive. Jin Yihe didn't even have to move. She simply pointed at him and commanded, "Teach this brat a lesson." They moved as fast as lightning, vanishing from the spot where they stood. The ground was littered with candy wrappers. They lunged forward like madmen, believing there was strength in numbers. Young Minyu let out a mocking laugh. Arrogant fools drowned in their own delusions. Not only was he unafraid, but he even provoked them loudly. Bring it on. The mana in this place was incredibly abundant and rich. The brown-haired one lunged first, but Astad dodged it, then quickly crouched and took him down with a single punch. The one lurking behind charged forward with a roar, only for Astad to deliver a kick to his neck so hard he began to foam at the mouth. Another tried to take advantage of a blind spot to play dirty. Little did he know, Young Minyu saw everything. Not only that, his reflexes were incredibly sharp. The man with the knife didn't even have a chance to stab before Astad anticipated his every move. An uppercut sent the man crumbling to the ground. Suddenly, Young Minyu spun around. The brown-haired thug desperately lunged to grab him. Astad gritted his teeth and cursed, "You bastard." The man screamed as his nose was smashed, blood spraying everywhere. Young Minyu was thrown to the ground. The large thug behind him quickly rushed in. He tried to ram Astad with his massive knee, but Astad was faster, bringing his hands together in an absolute defense. Street peeked out from behind a crate, worried. Lord Ravi's, Jin Yihe wore the smile of a victor. The gang, acting as if they'd inhaled a potent drug, unleashed a flurry of punches. Young Minyu could only use his bare hands to defend himself. He gritted his teeth and observed, their physical strength is enormous. Is it because they took more than last time? If that's the case, his gaze shifted to the right and he saw something. He lunged toward a red crate and they chased right after him. Young Minyu punched straight through a paper bag with his bare hand, pulling out a different purple bag from inside. Before being caught, he spun around and hurled the purple bag away. The four men charging at him were brought to a halt by the billowing dust. They gasped for air in agonizing pain as if they were dying. He gritted his teeth and muttered to himself, "I don't like this low-grade stimulant, but the mana is surging, becoming more intense. It really is that blue ribbon stuff." One of them clutched his mouth, gagging. But before he could do anything, Astad grabbed him by the face and shoved him back. He screamed as he was pinned to the ground and beat. Young Minyu was like a demon, frantically swinging his fist. One punch, then two, leaving the brown-haired man bloodied and unconscious. Someone tried to ambush him, but he dodged easily. Next, he gripped the man's leg firmly, performing a takedown that left the opponent with no time to react. Not finished yet, he held the leg tight with the intention of crushing it. The man's foot was practically pulverized. He screamed in pain, but it was useless. The big guy charged in again, undeterred. Die. But with just one hand, Young Minyu effortlessly smashed his jaw. The man collapsed onto the ground. Astad quickly got behind him and lifted him up. The man's eyes were vacant, acting only on the urge to attack. Such a small body, yet he wrestled the giant to the ground and pinned him. Jin Yihe backed away in terror. What the hell is going on? How can he take them all on at once? Having finished off the four of them, Young Minyu slowly looked up. She looked like she had seen a ghost, her face turning ashen. His gaze was now no different from a monster's, looking as if he wanted to eat her alive. Jin Yihe shivered in fear. He's a monster. How is this possible? His eyes, as red as blood, stared intently at her. At a different performance, a young girl in a ballet dress stood on stage. Below, a crowd of people sat watching. Kang Hyunju breathed steadily to regain her composure. From within a room, her mother's voice echoed, "That's right, she's my daughter, Kang Hyunju." She watched the screen showing her daughter's performance, rambling about her talent. "My daughter can easily join the Venus Ballet Company with that level of skill." Youngmoo entered without asking for permission. "There you are, our VIP customer." She questioned them angrily. "Who are you people? How dare lowlives like you enter this place? Do you have any idea where you are?" He replied with a mocking laugh. "Lowlives, excuse us. We received a massive order for blue ribbon, so I came personally to deliver the goods." She flinched, looking at the blue medicine bottle. "What?" Her eyes went wide in disbelief. "This is..." Youngmoo sat calmly in a chair. "Why do you look so tense? We've handled everything from the production process to the sales, so you have nothing to worry about." She asked hesitantly, "Are there really no side effects to this?" He looked at her with pure contempt. "Are you just asking that now?" Youngmoo looked up at the screen where Kang Hyunju was performing. You gave her plenty of doses before sending her onto that state. At that moment, the girl's eyes suddenly changed. Her gentle dance steps suddenly accelerated into numerous rapid spins. The mother stared in shock. Wait, Yuria. Blood vessels popped all over the girl's eyes, and she began to foam at the mouth, clearly no longer conscious. She tried to lift her fingers, but they were completely stiff. Youngmu feigned surprise. Oh dear, the side effects arrived faster than expected. Just how many pills did you give her? Kang Hyunju was now nothing more than a puppet controlled by the drug. The mother bolted up in a panic, screaming, but her daughter couldn't hear her. Yuria, stop. On stage, Kang Hyunju was spinning beautifully, but far too fast. Then she slammed hard onto the floor. The audience screamed at the sight. The crowd was in a frenzy, unable to sit still. What happened? Why did she fall? Security rushed onto the stage to check on her condition. The mother covered her mouth in disbelief, tears of regret welling in her eyes, but it was too late. She turned her anger toward Youngmu. You bastard, you said there were no side effects. He shamelessly blamed the victim. That only applies if you follow the correct dosage. Regardless, your daughter is beyond saving now. Kang Hyunju's body was covered in bulging veins, her eyes rolling back as she convulsed. He continued to brainwash her. She'll only live if you keep satisfying her need for these drugs, right? Youngmu shifted from a mere dealer to a position of power over her. Now she won't be able to live without blue ribbon for the rest of her life, like a true VIP customer of ours. She clutched her head and screamed, trying to escape the responsibility of her own actions. No, do you have any idea how much I invested in her? He smirked with delight, indifferent to her suffering. Suddenly, the phone in his pocket rang. He pulled it out and saw it was Jin Yihe. Instead of answering immediately, Youngmu paused for a few seconds. He looked as if he'd seen something very strange. What the hell? On the screen was a terrified Jin Yihe. I'm sorry, boss Youngmu. Youngminyu pushed her head aside, looked directly into the camera, and asked, are you the one producing blue ribbon? He stared in surprise. Looking at that state, I can already guess. So it's you, huh? Come here. Youngmu hung up immediately. His voice was somber as he made an announcement that sounded more like a command. Ladies and gentlemen, we have urgent business and must leave. That evening, at the crates where the fight had just occurred, Street looked curiously at the bodies scattered on the ground. Why do humans like playing with these things so much? Youngminyu replied bluntly, because they are ignorant and arrogant. He stared at the blue candy in his hand and mocked. Even as they get high, they still arrogantly believe they won't get addicted. They don't believe in anything. They just desperately cling to these small, temporary pleasures. Street jumped up, pointing behind him. Lord Ravi's over there. Jin Yihe looked as though she'd just met her savior, joy radiating from her face. Youngmu approached with several men in tow. So the incident at the tattoo parlor was your doing as well. He tilted his chin up, asking fearlessly, were you looking for me? Youngminyu gestured indifferently toward the cardboard boxes. I have no interest in a guy like you. Where did you get that supply? He narrowed his eyes at the man, his voice full of suspicion. That would be quite a feat for a normal human. Youngmu froze, unable to believe his ears. What? A normal human? The way he looked at Minyu began to shift. Don't tell me this brat is. In the past, vials of narcotics lay scattered across the ground. What's wrong? Did the old man faint? Youngmu kicked the frail, gaunt man and ordered, give me more drugs. He grew more irritated with every kick. Old man, my ass. Seeing that the man was foaming at the mouth and had been dead for who knows how long, Youngmu stared in disbelief. Is he dead? He vented his drug-fueled rage on his father's corpse. Damn it, high your whole life only to die from an overdose. He let out an exhausted sigh. If you die like this, how am I supposed to get more drug? Having said that, Youngmu stomped mercilessly on the body. He cursed while he stomped, trying to satisfy his urge. How will I find more now? Suddenly, the old man's eyes flared with light. Youngmu flinched and backed away. Old man, I thought you kicked the buckets. The old man didn't respond, but slowly sat up. The voice that answered wasn't human, but that of a demonic spirit. Are you sad that he is dead? Youngmu showed no fear, only staring back as he asked, what the hell are you? It ignored him and continued. If you are sad, I shall return him to you. Youngmu burst into a loud laugh as if he'd heard a joke. Sad. The old geezer is finally gone. Why should I be sad? He screamed in a frenzy. I don't need a piece of trash, father. I just need drug. Drugs, the phantom replied coldly. Is that so? It held a flower out toward him and commanded, then nourish this man-eater with his body. The phantom continued to coax him. Trust will be built between us, and you shall have what you desire. Youngmu took the flower and stared at the man-eater with suspicion. If anyone appears to reject your loyalty or cast aside the man-eater, deal with them. My faith will protect you. The look in his eyes shifted from that of an addict to a demon. The beautiful flower in his hand felt like a massive treasure. Youngmu broke into a cruel smile. He didn't hesitate to thrust the flower into his father's corpse, causing fresh blood to spray everywhere. Back in the present, Youngmu looked at Youngminyu and asked, "You called me a normal human." Minyu mused as he understood. "It seems you've placed your faith in something." The man made no attempt to hide it. Instead, he felt grateful. "That's right. He gave me a new life." Everything was unfolding exactly as Minyu suspected. He made a contract with a demon. Minyu tilted his head and cracked his knuckles. "I don't know what kind of trash you put your faith in, but both you and that bastard are pathetic." Youngmu's eyes bulged with rage. "How dare you insult him?" He ordered the two men behind him, "Grab him." Street panicked and quickly looked for a place to hide. Again, Youngminyu knew it would only take a few seconds. He was starting to find this tedious. "Let's end this quickly." Then various screams of agony echoed throughout the forest. An ambulance sped down the road. "Once we launched, I'm here." Orders absolutely exploded. Blue ribbon is sweeping through everywhere. Inside the vehicle, the mother clutched a pill bottle, watching her daughter receive emergency care, unsure if she was dead or alive. Outside, schoolgirls were opening the app interface. Expanding the VIP customer base across the country wouldn't be a problem anymore, right? She happily accepted the bottle, unaware of the latent risks. Damn, are we going to become a global corporation? Someone who had taken the pill lay on the floor, twitching like an addict. Xiang Jun and the others watched the results with satisfaction. "I think Boss Youngmu has started taking over the Chinese and Japanese markets. If it's Boss Youngmu, nothing is impossible." Lim Sion sat inside in silence, speechless. He bit his nails, tormenting himself. "Because I made that app, the drugs are spreading too fast." His face was twisted as if he were about to cry, pleading 1,000 times in his heart, "Someone, please make it stop." On the other side, the two bodyguards were quickly taken down. Jin Yihe was tied up and kneeling on the ground, screaming, "Look at this, Youngmu. This guy isn't human anymore." Youngminyu let out a sigh and looked at him. "Why aren't you coming over here?" Youngmu remained silent. He remembered the words the Phantom had told him. "If anyone appears to reject your loyalty or cast aside the man-eater, deal with them." He took 3 candies in his hand. Youngmu threw the drugs into his mouth and chewed voraciously. "By your command, Lord Bowie." The girl sitting nearby screamed, "Youngmu, I don't think he's just some high school kid. He might be the one making the new drugs." Youngminyu raised an eyebrow. "What, new drugs me?" He mused over the thought, then suddenly stiffened when he realized the man was right behind him. He glanced back. Youngminyu blocked the punch perfectly. Youngmu didn't back down, immediately launching a counterattack. Minyu held up his arms as a shield. "He's fast, on a completely different level from those other guys." As if sensing his thoughts, the man sneered, "How can you block my punches? Have you received his blessing too?" He asserted coldly, "He is my god and mine alone." Youngminyu finally understood. "Now I know why there are man-eaters and this disgusting stench. The god you worship." Minyu spoke the name that hit the mark. "It's Bauer, isn't it?" As expected, the move left him stunned. "What? How do you know his name?" Minyu taunted him. "He chose a failure like you because he doesn't trust anyone." Youngmu didn't hold back, becoming even more enraged. "Don't you dare insult the one who saved." Minyu acted as if he didn't care. "Right, he saved you. You must have looked pathetic when he called your name while you were hiding like a rat." The man growled, his mouth dripping with saliva. "Shut up. He is not someone for you to mock." In the next second, a series of punches were unleashed, all of which Minyu blocked. In Youngminyu's determined eyes, a flash of killing intent appeared. "Bauer, so he really has come to this world." In the demon realm, piles of undead corpses were stacked high. Ravi's was rampaging through the demon realm. "Coward." A man hiding in a corner trembled with fear upon hearing his taunts. "You only know how to run away." Minyu's eyes, devoid of warmth, swept over the area. Youngminyu no longer sat still as he had before. He stood up, looking like royalty in this place. "Bauer, you bastard, where are you hiding?" Youngmu, still unaware of the danger, continued to challenge him. "You dog, you don't get to talk about Lord Bauer." He roared, his body emitting a strange light, seemingly transforming. Minyu quickly covered his nose because of the stench, this foul smell. Youngmu muttered through his teeth, "Anyone who insults Lord Bauer will be dealt with by me personally." He lunged and grabbed Minyu, delivering a brutal kick to his stomach. He grabbed Minyu's shirt and pulled him close as he slumped forward. A moment later, he hoisted Youngminyu into the air. Then he threw him violently to the ground, without hesitation. Minyu gritted his teeth against the pain. Above him, Youngmu frantically landed punch after punch on Youngminyu's face. He punched while screaming, both the blue ribbon and Lord Bowie. Having touched upon his supreme being, he certainly wasn't going to show mercy. "Everything belongs to me." Minyu struggled to defend himself. "This bastard. He's lost his mind from too much mana. He really is trying to kill me. Suddenly, the man roared for a finishing blow. Minyu didn't back down, igniting his own power in response. Street sat trembling in the corner, silently praying, Lord Ravi's. Seeing young Minyu take the hits, she was fraught with worry. He has reached the limit of that mortal vessel. Street thought to herself, if this were the demon realm, every time I remember, if you could truly use your mana. Back in the demon realm, Bamb was also observed. It seems the test subject for the man-eater has gone berserk. I thought that with the demon bloodstone in hand, Ravi's could easily control the subject even in a human body. She predicted that he might die this time, and his soul would vanish forever. Bauer questioned Bamb, do you know what Ravi's hates most? The boy looked confused. Hate, he explained. He hates almost everything. It's hard to pick just one. Bamb nodded as if he understood and let out a sigh. Is it because his temper is a bit short? I wonder who he learned that from. Seriously, Bauer exposed him. Don't use your face to mock me. I know everything. Having been called out, he turned his face away. He muttered a crude comment as he noticed Bamb's confusion. Bauer gave a low laugh. He is obsessed with things that aren't clean. Above ground, the battle between defense and offense continued. Before the next strike, Young Minyu quickly blocked it. Filthy. Youngmu froze for a few seconds upon being blocked. What? Minyu shouted, I can't take it anymore. This stench of decay coming off you. His hands, which were holding back the man's fist, tightened their grip. The man released his hold from the pain. Seeing Minyu slowly stand up, Youngmu was forced to back away. What the hell? Young Minyu looked at his hand with doubt, just using the left hand. It felt as if a current of electricity were running through him. It feels like I'm using the hand of my actual body. Young Minyu looked at him calmly. What can a mere brat do? Without giving the man's body time to recover, he landed another blow. Youngmu fell backward in pain. The girl with him collapsed and stumbled back a few steps. He realized the danger. Who the hell are you? Minyu warned him, stop babbling with that foul mouth of yours. Youngmu took another painful punch to the face. Bamb, watching from below, was dazed, suddenly so strong. Bauer explained, Ravi's that kid. It seems he's dazed by the smell the subject secretes after awakening. His hardened expression was proof enough. It must have been difficult to even get close, because Ravi's hates filth more than anything. He leaned back with a smirk. When fear takes over, his body awakens automatically, allowing him to borrow a small portion of his true power. Bam's voice trembled. You mean he can use his power even in a human body? Bam's eyes went wide as he realized, even with the demon bloodstone, it should be impossible for a sinner's body to use demon realm power. Bauer had noticed from the start, Ravi's is no ordinary person. He asserted confidently, no matter what anyone says, Ravi's is my heir. On this side, Youngmu had been beaten to a pulp. Young Minyu approached aggressively and cautioned him, you fool, consider yourself lucky. He looked at him and coldly declared, I will sentence you to death with this body. Youngmu was pushed to a weak position. Impossible. Why am I? Are you receiving Lord Bauer's blessing? He fumbled around, looking behind him in confusion. A faint smile crossed his face. That's right, Lord Bauer's blue ribbon is. Just as he was about to strike, Young Minyu caught him. Don't try anything. He took a stance. I'll end this, but I won't kill you. He dug his feet into the ground for momentum, then charged forward without hesitation. The man opened his eyes, as if accepting the outcome. It was a direct punch to the face that couldn't be blocked. Young Minyu gripped his own hand, then released it. His body was gradually changing, seemingly becoming one with the wall. Young Minyu reached into his clothes, pulled out a handkerchief, and wiped the remaining traces from his face. The smell had finally faded a bit. Scene changed to Lim Sion's location. A thought flashed through his mind as he saw the data running on the screen. No, I can't. Lim Sion stared at the computer screen, sweat pouring off him. This isn't what I want. A scene of him sitting alone at school appeared. School factions, mandatory relationships in class that couldn't be avoided. Then a scene of Lim Sion standing at a distance, silently watching a group bully a classmate just so he could live in peace without becoming a target, pretending to like this person and hate that person without showing genuine closeness. The student was bullied to the point of tears. Lim Sion thought, I just want to help everyone have a place to find necessary connection. Lim Sion and Young Minyu looked at the crowd with apprehension, but he gritted his teeth in anger. I didn't create this to sell stimulants or do any kind of business. Lim Sion's fingers seemed to be stimulated by something as they flew across the keyboard. The lines of code on the screen sped along like arrows. While Lim Sion was typing with gritted teeth, the phones of the people outside suddenly reported errors, leaving them bewildered. What? Why is it reporting an error all of a sudden? Mine too, what the hell? He glanced at the people behind him and thought to himself with clenched teeth, hurry. Then Lim Sion suddenly jumped up, quickly grabbing a chair to block the door. The door was quickly blocked by the chair. The crowd outside finally understood and frantically pounded on the door. Damn it, what is that bastard doing? Go in and check. Open up, open the door for us fast. Lim Sion worked his hands quickly while thinking, I have to delete the app permanently. Seong Jun shouted angrily from outside, hey you idiots, open the door. Lim Sion looked at the computer screen anxiously. Hurry, please. A red warning symbol suddenly appeared in the corner of the screen. At the same time, the people outside used a chair to smash the glass partition. They cursed angrily and quickly jumped in, terrifying him. You bastard. One of them angrily slapped Lim Sion hard. What the hell are you doing? The blonde man went to the computer screen and roared. He really wants to bankrupt us. Hearing this, the other man angrily kicked him. You damn brat. Seong Jun shouted beside the blonde man, urging him on. Damn it, stop it. Hurry. If Boss Youngmoo comes back, we're all dead. Lim Sion gritted his teeth and covered his head, enduring the brutal kicks while thinking, I just need to hold out until the app is completely deleted. He suddenly reached out and grabbed a shard of broken glass nearby. Lim Sion turned and swung his arm forcefully, cutting the black-haired man's leg with the glass until it bled. Then he quickly scrambled up and ran. Lim Sion ran to a nearby fire extinguisher and gritted his teeth as he violently pulled the safety pin. Then he spun around, aiming the nozzle straight at the crowd and roared in anger. This belongs to me, you bastards. He angrily sprayed the fire extinguisher at the crowd, forcing them to cover their faces. What the hell, damn it, has the kid lost his mind? The program on the computer screen was now nearly finished. Son of a bitch. The blue core was finally full, and the program completed accordingly. Lim Sion, his eyes wet with tears, looked over with intense emotion. I did it. Seong Jun disregarded all danger and lunged at him in a rage. You son of a bitch. He grabbed Lim Sion tightly by the neck, causing the fire extinguisher to slip from his hand. Seong Jun pinned Lim Sion to the ground and roared, tie him up, bring something to restrain him. Two figures obscured by the smoke quickly obeyed. Yes, sir, damn it. Lim Sion struggled to break free from Seong Jun's grip while thinking. No. He tried to open his tear-filled eyes. In the end, this is as far as I can go. Seong Jun glared at Lim Sion in a fury. You stupid brat. A tall silhouette suddenly appeared in the smoke and spoke in a somber voice. How dare you touch my subordinate? Seong Jun turned his head in shock. What? A hand quickly snatched him. His two comrades suddenly turned back when they heard the scream from behind. The blonde-haired thug called out weakly, Seong Jun. Young Minyu, currently holding the man's blood-stained head, turned back and shot a cold glance at the rest of the gang. The other two were completely terrified and screamed, What the hell, man, Seong Jun. Seeing those two, Young Minyu immediately tossed Seong Jun aside and lunged forward at high speed. He unleashed a barrage of attacks that left the blonde-haired man beaten black and blue, unable to even mount a defense. The two of them were quickly neutralized by Young Minyu and collapsed onto the ground simultaneously. He looked at the group and spoke in an ice-cold voice. How dare you touch what's mine? Even if he were to die, I wouldn't allow it. Lim Sion looked up at Young Minyu with tear-filled eyes. Minyu. A scene of the two of them sitting under a porch suddenly flashed back. At that time, Lim Sion had said, Minyu, look, here's an app I just made. Curious, Minyu asked, what kind of app? An app appeared on the phone screen as Sion explained. People close to each other can gather here to interact. If you live near them, you can share your location and even set up study groups. Young Minyu stared in shock at the phone screen and remarked, That's incredible. You actually made an entire app like that. He pointed to a warning whistle icon in the corner of the screen and asked curiously, So what is this? Lim Sion replied, That. Then he bowed his head sadly and said, Thinking back to when Tiwoo's gang dragged you away, I'm sorry I couldn't do anything. Lim Sion's eyes held an indescribable sadness as he continued, At that time, I really couldn't find where you were, so I added this feature. He began explaining the function of the red button on the screen. If you press it, it will show your current location to people you've designated as friends. If something like that ever happens again, just press it. Then Lim Sion suddenly turned to look at Young Minyu and declared clearly, No matter what, I will be there to help. I'll report it or gather friends to come to your rescue. Hearing that, Minyu let out a faint smile. The two of them tinkered with the app together as Minyu said, Thanks, I'll download it too. Back in the present, Lim Sion looked up at him with watery eyes and whispered, Minyu. Young Minyu simply held out his phone screen and asked coldly, You sent this, didn't you? Lim Sion was even more moved now and said, You actually received my signal. The screen displayed the app's interface. Tears began to stream down Lim Sion's face. He pressed his hands against the ground and sobbed with gratitude. Thank you, Minyu. Lim Sion knelt before Young Minyu and thanked him shakily. thank you so much. Outside in the old alley, two shouting voices could be heard arguing. Damn it, how is he so strong? Let me go. Street was currently handcuffing Jin Yihee's hands behind her back and said irritably, hey, quit squirming. She suddenly turned her head when she saw him and exclaimed in surprise, Lord Ravi. Jin Yihee took the opportunity to break free and run, making Street scream in panic. Hey, stop. Young Minyu calmly intervened. Let her go, I don't need her anymore. He looked up at the building behind them and thought, first off, it looks like all their man-eaters will be lost. A massive fire was erupting, showing no signs of being extinguished. Rescue workers and police quickly cleared the area and spoke urgently. The fire hasn't spread yet. We must put it out immediately. A firefighter suddenly spoke up. This is all of it. Detective Seongjun flinched as she glanced at three bodies lying by a tree root. She stared with wide, shocked eyes at them. These people. The blonde-haired man had been beaten until his face was a bloody mess, and his pupils were no longer intact. The three of them, Young Minyu, Lim Seon, and Street, leisurely walked away. Lim Seon said nothing but glanced over at Street. At that moment, Street was happily skipping and singing. Meanwhile, Young Minyu thought to himself as he walked, why do I get the feeling that Bauer is using me? He frowned in anger and looked straight up at the sky. When I get back, I won't let this go. The streetlights had gone out. Inside the house, the three of them were together as Lim Seon asked about Young Minyu's injured hand. Are you sure you don't need to go to the hospital? With a resolute tone, he replied, I'm sure. Going there is too much trouble. Lim Seon smiled slightly, his voice full of appreciation. Thank you, Minyu. I only sent that signal as a precaution. I didn't think you'd actually show up. Young Minyu suddenly realized something, as if just remembering. He continued, it was a coincidence on my way here. I didn't even. Street quickly covered his mouth to stop him from saying more. Were you about to say that everything was just a coincidence? Along the path where Jin Yihee was leading them, Street gripped her by the collar and interrogated her. Is this really the way to your hideout? If you dare lie to me, just look at that guy from earlier as an example. Jin Yihee replied resentfully, you're doing all this for your friend Lim Seon. Is that why you're willing to push things this far? Hearing this, Young Minyu figured it out and interrogated her psychologically. What? You're holding Lim Seon? No wonder I haven't seen my #1 slave at school late. Jin Yihee seemed to snap and replied irritably, what? If it's not for your friend, then what's your motive? His phone screen flashed with a notification bell. Street whispered to him about the matter. You absolutely must not mention the word coincidence here. Human relationships don't work like that. With a reluctant look, he watched her as she spoke. You're not just going to live here for a year or two and then head back to the demon realm, are you? Lim Seon looked at him, his eyes shining with intense admiration. In this student's eyes, Lord Ravi's was nothing short of a hero who had come to his rescue. He turned toward Street and asked him in confusion, now that you mention it, who is that? He replied, this guy, he's my subordinate. His name is Street. Lim Seon looked dazed and bewildered, thinking, subordinate. Could it be that Minyu? Without delay, he asked about his suspicion. Hey Minyu, can I ask you something? The sudden, almost illogical change in him, combined with the appearance of a strangely dressed subordinate. Lim Seon gritted his teeth, trying to convince himself it wasn't what he thought. He asked, you haven't gotten involved in anything, have you? Then he lowered his head and thought, just as I suspected, Minyu has joined some shady organization. I hope he isn't mixed up with bad people. Young Minyu figured that Lim Seon had probably guessed something. In the future, many people would likely target his subordinates. A needle in a hay bale will always be found eventually. He shattered the boy's assumptions, saying, exactly, you guessed right. I am the son of the great demon king from the demon realm, Ravi's Bindik. In reality, Lim Seon just stared blankly, not understanding a word. Who? Young Minyu sighed, since things have come to this, it can't be helped. Since you know who I am now, you'll have to help me with a few things. The boy still had no idea what he was talking about. Son of the great demon king, what kind of nonsense are you babbling? Suddenly, something made Lim Seon look down. It was the cat making him scream, that cat again. Young Minyu saw she was playing tricks and was too lazy to explain. Hey, explain it to him. I've been fighting all day and I'm exhausted. Street in cat form replied, yes, sir. Then she said to Seon, perk up those ears and listen closely to what I'm about to tell you. Seeing this, Lim Seon froze in fear and screamed at the top of his lungs. A talking cat. Scene changed to Youngmu tied up in a vehicle. Detective Seongjun said, everything has been burned to the ground. We're heading out first. With a tattered face, he was now filled with regret. That bastard. I should have killed him when I had the chance. I should have killed him. Suddenly, someone approached looking very sinister. Who are you? This is a restricted area. It was Bauer Hilt. He stepped forward, placed a hand on Detective Seongjun's face, and told him to shut up. Then the detective fell to the ground. He walked up to Han Youngmu. My poor child, you look pathetic. Seeing Bower Hilt before him, the man screamed, Lord Bower, I will kill that bastard. Bower Hilt replied coldly, let's talk while we walk. In the forest, Detective Seong Jun was lost in thought. We just received a report that all distribution points have been suppressed. Who on earth did this? Holding a bag of the drugs, she mused. This stuff was even approved by the Ministry of Food and Drug Safety. Clenching the bag in her hand, she was furious. A massive amount has already reached the students. Those goddamn bastards. Detective Seong Jun was now crawling up from the ground, groaning. My head is killing me. Worried, she ran over and asked, Detective, are you all right? He replied urgently, the car, check the car first. By now, Han Youngmoo had vanished. She was utterly shocked. No way. She thought anxiously to herself, what the hell? Where did that bastard disappear to? In the school where Bower Hilt was located. Han Youngmoo knelt down. Lord Bower, please give me one more chance. He screamed as if going insane. Give me more drugs. If I have more, I'll take that bastard's life. Bower Hilt, holding one of the burned flowers, said coldly, do you have any idea how valuable the flowers that were just burned were? All around were charred corpses, with cold purple flowers growing on them. Do you know how much effort I put into collecting these people? He looked at the flower as if it were the last one. Humans are just a bunch of trash not worth trusting. My precious flower. Han Youngmoo pleaded in terror. Just one more chance, I beg you. I will definitely kill that bastard. Without letting him finish, Bower Hilt thrust the flower through his eye, making him scream in agony. My eye, Bower Hilt said nonchalantly, and without mercy. Do you remember the blood oath you swore to me? He uttered cold words. Prove your loyalty to me with the flowers that grow from your very own body. Jin Yihee was currently rummaging through a corner of the room looking for something. Damn it, I have to survive no matter what. If I can just grab my wallet, I can make a run for it. She searched frantically. Damn it, where the hell is it? I went to the office, but the cops were there. Before she could finish, a man who barely looked human appeared and said, I just came in to take a look, but it turns out you're here. Jin Yihee flinched, backing away in fear. Who the hell are you? This is crazy. Why are you trying to cause trouble now? He looked ravenous and angry. You bored me. This is all your fault. The blue ribbon, give it to me. She gritted her teeth in anger. You glitched out bastard. How many of those have you chewed? Grabbing a piece of wood from the corner, she attacked him. You dog, what hole did you crawl out of? The strike didn't faze him at all, but instead sent her falling down. He babbled, damn it, blue ribbon, give it to me. As if going mad, he emitted a dark aura that enveloped the blue ribbon. The blinding aura left her unable to move. You bastard. She began to cry in terror. I don't want to die like this. From the black smoke, Bam appeared. If this happens, Ravi's is going to be really annoyed. Jin Yihee didn't recognize him and just screamed for help. Who? Who is it? Help me, please. Bam's voice was cold and merciless. Sorry, I'm not that strong. Besides, you already have a place reserved in hell, so you might as well just accept your fate. Bitter and humiliated, she sobbed in fear. Hell, you bastard. Bam let out a laugh that was enough to terrify anyone. But your body still has a use in the human world. In the territory where Anais was standing. Welcome, my little brother. Barca seemed to be plotting something, since sending Ravi's to the human world. She turned to look at Barca with an icy gaze. How dare you use my son? Barca laughed with delight. So you noticed. He continued, trying to reassure her. There's no need to worry. Ravi's is grown up now. You think I just sent him away like that? I placed a demon bloodstone in his body. At this, she completely exploded. What? A demon bloodstone? You've completely lost your mind. Are you planning to announce to the whole world that the son of the great demon king is alone in the human world? Seeing her worry, he was too lazy to explain further. Sister, why don't you try trusting Ravi's a little? She replied calmly, it's not that I don't trust Ravi's. I'm worried about the way this world works. She continued, even the smallest crack can make everything collapse. The world is that unstable right now. Barca dismissed her thoughts and said, Ravi's is much stronger than you think. He's like me, combative, with fighting power far beyond anyone else. Furious, she grabbed Barca by the head and scolded him. You brat, that's exactly the problem. If even a single hair on Ravi's soul is damaged, both you and I are dead. Understood. Realizing he wasn't a child anymore yet was still being bullied by his sister, he grumbled. How old am I that you're still hitting me in the head? Bam, search every magic book for me and find a way to get rid of every older sister in the world. Bam disagreed. Shut up. I don't want a crazy brother like you. Can you both just calm down? She angrily yanked on Barca's hair. Bam thought to himself, it's a miracle Ravi's managed to survive and grow up in an environment like this. At the place where Young Minyu and Lim Sion were, the boy shuddered but had to ask, so you're really a demon? Young Minyu replied, that is indeed what humans call us. Street was currently overjoyed to hear him speak, thinking, he said us. Lim Sion asked hesitantly, now that I know the truth, will I go to hell when I die? He replied, hell is right here. If you come to the demon realm with me, no one will be able to touch you. Taking on a dangerous air, he added, as the sole successor to the great demon king, I, Ravi's, am your master. Terrified, the boy refused. I don't need protection. I don't want to go to a place like that. Seeing how scared he was, Astat teased him. Just try turning back, and I'll pull out Bam's eyes and suck on them like lollipops. Lim Sion wondered, then what really happened to Minyu? Street in cat form replied, he was destined to die anyway. In principle, only the bodies of people like that can be used as vessels. He bit his lip, a look of sorrow on his face. Impossible. Why did Minyu have to die? Young Minyu saw him like that and said, don't be so gloomy. We'll all see each other in the demon realm in a few decades anyway. Lim Sion looked completely helpless, trying to accept it. So it's confirmed that I'm definitely going to the demon realm. Seeing his sadness, Minyu turned to Street and said, humans really do have a pointlessly rich imagination. The demon realm is actually quite a fun place, isn't it? She agreed. Yes, that's right. Her voice sounded threatening as she added, our home is filled with the smell of blood and screams. The cat's demeanor made Lim Sion even more scared. Please stop. Young Minyu looked at Lim Sion and instructed, you have a long way to go before then. Don't worry, just treat me as you did before, and don't reveal this to anyone. Terrified, Lim Sion replied, yes, sir. Young Minyu began to move. Man, my body is aching again. I'm leaving. Street's voice echoed. Let's go together, Lord Ravi's. Young Minyu was now exhausted. My head hurts. Did I use too much of the demon bloodstone's power? Suddenly, Young Minha appeared excitedly holding a birthday cake. Brother, happy birthday. Young Minyu didn't even know it was his birthday. Me, birthday. Young Minha laughed with delight. Mother and I worked hard to make this cake yesterday. I can't guarantee how it tastes though. Placing a birthday hat on his head, she said, Mom and Dad will be home soon. She held up a camera and said, all right. Let's start with a birthday selfie. Young Minyu seemed to see something on her face. She smiled and explained it away. Some guys were bullying an old lady with a cart, so I stepped in. It was nothing, I just did something unnecessary. He thought to himself, helping someone else when you aren't even strong yourself. How strange. She held out a spoonful of cake to him. Anyway, you must be hungry. Here, eat. He took a bite, as if he were tasting a gourmet delicacy. What is this? It's white, soft, and sweet. What is this flavor? While they were enjoying themselves, Young Tisik barged in furiously. Damn it. He stomped in angrily. Find out where the bastards who threw eggs at me live. I'm going to kill them all. The henchman replied, yes, sir. He lost control of his anger and punched the subordinate following him. No, I'll kill you first. You couldn't even stop something like this. The mother saw this and tried to stop him. Honey, please stop. He swiped her hand away and yelled, let go. Young Minha saw the urgent situation and rushed in to intervene. Please stop. Mother didn't do anything wrong. He roared, what? He looked at the birthday cake. Young Tisik growled, what the hell is this? Your father gets pelted with eggs while campaigning, and you're sitting here eating cake. He pushed her and cursed, I don't know what kind of person you are. In a rage, he swiped the cake away. If I were your real father, would this stuff even go down your throat? The mother tried to reason with him. Honey, please, today is Minyu's birthday. He snapped, birthday at a time like this. Stomping toward the door, he turned back. What a suffocating family. Now Young Minyu was also furious. My cake, how dare you touch my things? The mother collapsed and hugged Young Minha, sobbing bitterly. I'm so sorry, children, I'm so sorry. The girl comforted her. No, Mom, you didn't do anything wrong. Young Minyu's gaze was ice cold as he thought of Young Tisik. That guy really is one ultra-arrogant mortal. In the office, Young Tisik was in a state of rage. That bastard why Youngmu isn't even sending money and has cut off all contact. I don't know what hole he's hiding in. He gritted his teeth. If we want even a single photo with Assemblyman Park, we need to pay up first. That goddamn why Youngmu. The henchman replied, I'll do my best to find him, sir. Clenching his fist, Tisik said, it's infuriating that we have to grovel before a bastard like that just to raise approval ratings. And every one of these trash piles is acting like garbage. A henchman rushed in from the door. Sir, a video of Minha is spreading rapidly online. He asked urgently, what video? The man held out the video for him. Please watch this, sir. In the video, Young Minha was recording the bullies with her phone. Hey, you guys, I'm recording everything. Stop it. A bully yelled, hey, you crazy girl, who do you think you are to interfere? She snapped back, why are you bullying an old lady? You bastards. He yelled in rage, you bitch. Then the voices of people around them, hey, just let it go. Damn it, what are you looking at? I said let's go, you dog. Young Minha approached the old lady and asked, are you all right, ma'am? The woman replied gratefully, oh, thank you, child. Young Minha asked, did something like this happen to Minha? The henchman replied, yes, sir. If we reveal that she's your daughter, it will be a huge boost to your approval ratings." The comments were exploding. He was like a fish in water, his voice full of delight. Really. Looking at the video, he thought, this could actually create a very good image. The next day, at Nosi Entertainment, Han Yangju was watching the news report about Minha while speaking to her 2 children. Han rang, "Hansu, come here. Do you see that? That is my new vessel." Hansu praised, "How incredibly beautiful." Han Rang didn't say a word, merely letting out a cold snort. Han Yangju asked her daughter, "What's wrong, my dear? Do you not like it?" Han Rang replied, "Not exactly." Han Yangju continued, "Are you jealous? I've already spent a fortune to buy that child's face, so she will soon become my new body. Human bodies age so quickly. They wrinkle, wither, and eventually turn hideous. But to find such a perfect new vessel like this, it must be destiny." A faint smirk played on her lips as she mused, "What a lovely little doll. I wonder what kind of sound she'll make when she's crushed into pieces." Scene changed to Young T6's office, where he was looking quite satisfied with his daughter. The assistant spoke up. "This morning's poll results show that she has reclaimed the lead in approval ratings. With this momentum, you won't face any obstacles at all, sir." They say Young Minha's video will also be broadcast on the 9 o'clock news. T6 grinned triumphantly. "The 9 o'clock news, absolutely brilliant. I didn't expect that child, who used to talk so much nonsense, to become such a blessing. From now on, I'll need to pay much more attention to my family. We'll turn her into even more of a centerpiece through charity work and volunteer efforts. Schedule anything you can under Minha's name." The assistant nodded. "Yes, sir. Also, sir, the CEO candidate Han Yangju from Nosi Entertainment has contacted us." Young T6 was puzzled. "Han Yangju, why Nosi Entertainment?" The assistant replied, "She saw Minha's video and expressed great interest." Young T6 smirked. "Han Yangju, ha ha ha. Minha really is a gold mine." The scene shifts to late afternoon. Sion was slightly taken aback by the news he'd just heard. "Wow, I had no idea. Minu's stepfather is a mayoral candidate." Ravi's wondered, "Stepfather, how much do you actually know about young Minu's family?" Sion replied, "Minu never spoke about it direct. I only know that he's very close to Minha. Minu truly cherishes her." Ravi's remarked pensively, "Cherishes her, you say? My uncle always said one must cherish those necessary for one's own power." Images of those two suddenly appeared in Ravi's mind. "That includes uncle and Bam too. Understand, Ravi's." Ravi's found both of them incredibly annoying. "You're all too loud." Ravi's suddenly looked down at Street's hole. "Why are you always stuck in this hole?" Street replied, "I might have accidentally eaten too much over the last few days." And then Ravi's wondered, "Are all the portals to the demon realm this narrow? What did Bam say? Lord Bam isn't here. Instead, he left this message. Good job. Ravi's, by the way, why don't you try capturing Bago too? I'll send you a little gift. Do your best with it." Ravi's was furious and tore Bam's gift box to shreds. "That bastard. Does he think he can just use me however he wants? Damn Bam, I'll rip you apart before I even get to Bago." Street, seeing Ravi's losing his composure, hurried to intervene. "Lord Ravi's, please calm down." Sion suddenly spoke up. "Regardless, at this rate, your father might actually be elected mayor. Public opinion is overwhelmingly in his favor." At that moment, Ravi stroked his chin thoughtfully. "That kind of person, ruling over an entire city," Sion replied. "Instead of ruling, let's just call it managing." Ravi's mused, HMPH, just as greedy as a Cinerus demon. Ravi's asked, "Hey Street, is it possible that Young Tisik is actually a Cinerus who crossed over to the human world?" Sion was confused. "What's a Cinerus?" Street explained, "A Cinerus is a gluttonous demon from the underworld, eating and eating without end. Even other demons despise them. But unfortunately, Lord Ravi's, I manage this sector, and Young Tisik is just a human." Ravi's narrowed his eyes. "Is that so? If a human like that can become a ruler, it just proves the human world is truly rotten. Anyway, Street, eat in moderation. Otherwise, you'll turn into a Cinerus yourself." Street felt quite hurt by the comment. "Yes, sir." Ravi's Sion noted while looking at recent news reports. Candidate Young Tisik. He seems to be planning to use Minha. He doesn't look like he has good intentions at all. Ravi's thought to himself, he plans to use Minha. Scene changed to Menu's family apartment. As the young man returned home, he overheard Han Yangju's brainwashing words. "Just think about what will happen to Minha in the future. Minha's beauty is truly exceptional. If she learns to dance, she can debut and become the center of everyone's attention in no time." Menu's mother was a bit concerned, but Minha is still a student, and she's never said she wanted to be an artist. T6 spoke up, "My dear, don't say such things in front of the director. When a child is born with talent, it's a mistake to hide it." "I apologize, director. My wife is just being a bit cautious." Han Yangju reassured Menu's mother. "Don't worry, ma'am. At Nosi, we will ensure she can balance her studies with her activities. Idols today are different. They can perform and still get into the universities they want. Seeing that guy Han-soo looking at his sister with greedy eyes, Ravi's couldn't help but shake his head in disgust. What's up with this guy? No idea, Young Tae-sik asked Han Yongju, so we just need to sign this contract, right? Han Yongju nodded. Yes, that is the contract with Nosi. It will brighten both Minha's future and yours, Mr. Candidate. Here, Minha kept her head down, not daring to utter a single word. Seeing Ravi standing there, Han Yongju offered a greeting. Oh, are you Minha's older brother? It's a pleasure to meet you. I am Han Yongju, the director of Nosi Entertainment. Ravi stood there arrogantly, not bothering to say a word. T6, seeing this, prompted him. Young Minyu, aren't you going to greet the director? Yongju acted magnanimously. It's all right, Mr. Candidate. Kids these days are all like that. Ravi's remembered what Sion had said. Minyu truly cherishes Minha. He recalled a conversation with his violent uncle as Barca placed a hand on his chest and said solemnly, Ravi's, I will always stand by you. Ravi's was utterly horrified. Whoa, why are you suddenly saying that? Barca then cautioned his nephew. Listen carefully, Ravi's. This world is full of hostile forces targeting the power of the ruler. But you are the heir, destined to inherit the throne of Lord Gamud as the ruler of this world. With such a heavy responsibility, you must gather your own faction. Ravi's replied arrogantly, I can live perfectly well with just my own strength. Barca laughed heartily. Certainly, that is true for now. But one day, you will meet people who will capture your heart before you even realize it. And then you will begin to change, without even knowing it yourself. Ravi stood there with a blank expression. My head hurts. Are you really saying those words to a kid who hasn't even had his coming-of-age ceremony yet? I hate complicated talk. Let's get back to training. Barca laughed loudly. That's my nephew for you. Ravi's placed his hand on Minha's shoulder. He asked his sister, Minha, do you really want to do this? Minha looked up at Ravi's. Brother. Ravi's replied, if you're being forced, just say it. I'll take care of this. Minha pensively recalled the times Young Tae-sik had bullied her and her mother. The old man slapped Minyu's mother. What? Leaving, you ungrateful wretch, you dare forget my kindness. Throw a fit all you want, but you can't take Minyu or Minha anywhere. Their names are already in my family registry. Minyu's mother pleaded through her tears. Please just let us go. Young Tae-sik roared. Just try it and see if you can survive without a single penny to your name. Minha stood up to protect her brother. Grandfather left things for us. Those don't belong to you, uncle. Young Tae-sik gritted his teeth in anger. You're just as naive as your miserable mother. Do you know the real key to survival in this house? Once I've grasped something, it's mine forever. Remember this well, you are my daughter. Young Minha, after a moment of inner struggle, finally spoke up. Fine, this is my choice. I will do it on one condition. If I earn money, keep it under my name. That is my condition. With a look of absolute determination, Minha thought, I will save mother and brother from that monster. Young Tae-sik was slightly surprised but remained smiling. A condition? Minha, that's only natural. Your hard work belongs to you alone. Han Yongju spoke up. It's a deal then. Shall we sign the contract now? Young Tae-sik replied with fake sincerity. Director, please take care of Minha. She is more precious to me than life itself. Minyu's mother asked her daughter anxiously, Minha, are you sure? Minha smiled and replied, Yes, mother, please trust me just this once. The girl smiled brightly at Ravi's. Thank you for worrying, brother. Ravi's remained pensive and silent. Scene change. Han Yongju and her children were on their way home. The woman Yongju was full of praise for Minha. The more I look at her, the more perfect she seems. My new vessel. Her appearance, her gaze, and that rare purity you don't see nowadays. I like everything about her. Han-soo spoke up, but that young Minyu guy, something is off about him. Han Yongju asked her daughter, Han Rang, what do you think? Han Rang replied, Minha's brother. I sense something special about him. He is definitely not human. Han Yongju smiled slightly. HMPH. If you say so, Han Rang, then he might be a tracker from the demon realm. Han-soo asked her, Mother, do you want me to deal with him? Han Yongju replied, Not yet. Hasty actions could cause even greater trouble. Just observe for now. Minha is the top priority. Han-soo clutched his head and screamed, that brat's smug face. I want to tear him into 100 pieces. Han Yongju cautioned her son. Be patient, Han-soo. The crescent moon night is coming soon. Once we perform the ritual and make Minha mine, you can do whatever you want with that Minyu brat. Han-soo was delighted. Really? You promise? Han Yongju nodded slightly. Of course, a gift from mother to you. I promise, my son. Han Rang suddenly spoke up. Mara, what about me? Han Yongju flinched. What? Mara? Han Rang never mentioned that name again. I am Han Yongju. No, I will be reborn as young Minha. No demon king, no 12 dark thrones. Nothing can stop me. I will not fail this time. The next day, Minha stood before the Nosi entertainment building. The girl took a deep breath and let it out. I can do this. Minha walked straight into the lion's den without realizing it. Mara introduced the girl to the others. Everyone, pay attention. I am going to introduce you to the newest member of our family, Minha. You've probably already seen her on social media. Minha will be the leader of the group Jira. A girl named Hyen questioned, Director, isn't this decision a bit sudden? I've been training in the leader position all this time. Mara praised her while simultaneously pushing her down. Hyen, you've done well. From now on, support Minha as her companion. Mara turned to leave. Do your best, Minha. Minha nodded. Yes, ma'am. After Mara left, the bullying officially began. Hyen interrogated Minha. Think you're a big shot just because you have your daddy backing you. Minha was confused. What? Hyen said angrily. The mayoral candidate's daughter, huh? Must be nice to rely on connections. You think you can just snatch the center position I've bled for over the last 4 years? Didn't you say you wouldn't sign unless you were made the leader? Minha was surprised. No, I. Rage surged into Hyen's head, and she scratched Minha across the face. No, my ass. Let's see how far your backing actually gets you. Minha's beautiful face was now blading, but the girl could only endure it, not daring to fight back. Scene changed to Mara and her 2 children's resident. Hansu watched the classic bullying scene through the cameras and let out an exclamation. That's amazing. Mother is going to go crazy over this. Hansu pointed, Mother, look at this. Mara was puzzled. What is it? Hansu recounted what had happened. Hyen scratched Minha's face. Look at the blood. Mara gritted her teeth in rage. That insect. She's worse than trapped. How dare she leave a scar on my precious vessel? That evening at the park, Ravi's group was discussing the news. So Minha is debuting. This is huge, Street said. Nosi is really famous, right? That kid could rule the human world if she does well. Sion remarked, Street seems to know a lot. Street tilted her nose up and laughed. Ha, I've lived in the human world for 200 years. Didn't you know? Ravi's folded his arms and said, if it's the kid's wish, it's none of my business. But that chairwoman and her children, they make me feel uneasy. They have no demon energy, yet they didn't flinch before my aura. It's possible there are demons hiding in the human world. Street spoke up. Demons who have lived here for a long time can hide their energy easily. It's better to be careful. But Lord Ravi's, stop shooting those fiery glares from Minu's body. Sion agreed, exactly Minu. No one likes that bloodthirsty look of yours. Ravi's folded his arms. Regardless, they are suspicious. Even without demon energy in my body, I will never let another demon slip past. Sion teased him, right. You couldn't even find Bauer yet. Ravi's blood boiled. He pointed at Sion and ordered Street, drag this brat to the demon realm immediately. I'm throwing him into a hellish training camp. Street cheered, yes, sir. Sion cried out, Og, stop threatening me. I know perfectly well that not just anyone can go down to the demon realm. Ravi's gritted his teeth, thinking, I don't even know how to use the demon bloodstone properly yet, and now even a dog looks down on me. Ravi's asked his subordinate, Street, have you found a way to restore the power of the demon bloodstone yet? Street nodded. Yes, as you requested, I have found a way for you to regain your strength, Lord Ravi's. Ravi's folded his arms and commanded, good, I will take back my power. You go scout Han Yongju and those twins. As for number 1 slave over here, you're coming with me. Street obeyed, yes, sir. Sion stood there stunned. Am I number 1 slave? Scene changed to Hyen. The girl was walking and crying. Sob, this can't be happening. My 4 years of preparation were all for nothing. Suddenly, Hyen heard the sharp clang of metal hitting the ground. The girl spun around with a start. Who's there? Han Young stood there, cold and silent, holding 2 blades. Hyen stammered, her voice trembling. Sis, what's wrong? Did I do something to offend you? Please, let's just talk. If this is about Minha, I'm sorry. I just lost my temper for a moment. Han Young didn't say a word. She swung her blade in a single flash, severing Hyen's head and sending her straight to the afterlife. Only after Hyen was dead did Han Young speak up. Why did you slap her face? My mother hates that more than anything. Many years ago, a pregnant woman named Han Yongju was walking down the street with her husband. The husband said, Yongju, it's late. Why are you still out? You're making me a bit worried. Yongju replied, Father bought chicken for the 2 little ones and is on his way back, so I couldn't just sit still at home and wait. Her husband marveled. Oh, you're so adorable. Are you sure this is really what the kids want? Or is it my dear wife who has the cravings? The couple joked and chatted, completely unaware that they were being stalked by a demon named Mara. The creature slowly crawled out from a sewer, flicking its tongue greedily as it stared at Yongju's body. Back at their apartments, while Yongju was sleeping, she felt as though she were experiencing sleep paralysis. But when she opened her eyes, she was struck with terror. The demon Mara was wearing a grotesque smile, staring at the woman's beautiful face. Haha, I really like this vessel. Yangju screamed. Who are you? Mara, whose body was like a viscous sludge, began the process of possessing her. Shut your mouth. I am going to crush all of you humans. Don't worry about the children. I will raise them very carefully. But as you can see, I am also in need of a child. Yangju's eyes filled with tears. No, not my children. With that, Mara slipped into Yangju's body, taking complete control of her. At that moment, her husband woke up and asked, "What was that noise, honey?" He blinked in surprise. "Oh, honey." Fast as lightning, Mara grabbed the husband by the throat and hauled him out toward the balcony. The husband struggled. "Honey, what are you doing?" Mara replied with pure contempt. "You're actually a husband. You look so pathetic. How could I ever live with a creature like this?" The husband said shakily, "You, who the hell are you?" Mara let go of her grip. "Why do you care?" The husband plummeted from the 36th floor, his voice screaming his wife's name until the end. "No, Yangju." With a sickening thud, the husband's body turned into a mess of broken remains. Mara cradled her pregnant belly, wearing a demonic smile. "Ha ha, this body belongs to me now." Scene changed to the delivery room. Mara was thrashing violently, ignoring the doctor's pleas. "Please try to stay calm, ma'am." The nurses added, "What are you doing? Someone hold her down." Mara continued to scream curses. "Ah, this hurts like death. What are you all waiting for? Get these filthy things out of me right now. Get them out before I kill every single one of you." Ah, this is all that bitch Ineas's fault. Ineas was Ravi's mother and the consort of the demon king Gamu. After the twins, Hansu and Han Young, were born, the nurses couldn't help but marvel, though their faces were etched with horror. What is going on with these children? This is impossible. It's like they're literally radiating demonic energy. Scene changed to Mara's apartment. She was struggling with postpartum weight. "My body feels so sluggish. It must be because I just gave birth. Look at this hideous belly fat. I wonder when it will finally disappear." Hansu reached out his hands, crying for his mother. Mara looked at him with blatant boredom. "Look, if you've taken my mana, you'd better pay me back soon. How long do you plan on being this useless? Hurry up and grow so you can protect me until I find a vessel that can fully contain my vengeful soul." Scene changed to a bar where some women were gossiping. "I know she's in shock because her husband committed suicide, but don't you think this is a bit much?" Her black-haired friend said, "Consolation has its limits, you know. She's no longer the Yangju we used to know." The blonde girl wondered, "What about the kids?" The black-haired friend replied, "She doesn't even let anyone see them. I heard she's hardly ever at home anymore." The blonde girl sighed. She was so happy when she finally got pregnant after all that struggle. And yet, Mara in Yangju's body was flirting with a man. "You said you work for a TV station. Then you must know many beautiful and handsome children, right?" Mara blew out a puff of smoke, sending the handsome man into a deep slumber. "Oh, what's happening?" Now that she had her prey, Mara wore a twisted smile. "Ineas, there is no shortage of young and beautiful things, even in this living hell. I will turn each and every one of them into mine, and one day, I will kill you with my own hands." Scene changed to the present. Mara was shedding crocodile tears. Inspector Hilt was a girl destined to be the center of our upcoming debut group. She was talented and more highly anticipated than anyone. Detective Seong Jun wondered, did the victim have any conflicts with colleagues, or perhaps she was being stalked? Han Yongju cleared her throat. "Well, about that, cough cough." Detective Seong Jun looked puzzled. "What's wrong? Are you all right, Madam Chairwoman?" Han Yongju began to retch. I don't bless." Hansu spoke up. "Detective, I think it's best if we stop here for today. The chairwoman cared for that girl like her own daughter." Han Young added, "Why don't you go and interview the other trainees first?" Detective Seong Jun nodded. "Ah, yes, I understand. We'll take our leave then." The female inspector followed. "Right." Seong Jun didn't forget to shoot a suspicious side glance at Yongju and her children as he left. Once the two investigators were gone, Han Yongju began to vomit up everything in her stomach. Looking at the mess of maggots and filth on the floor, Yongju couldn't contain her rage. That damn inspector, poking around everywhere like he's hunting rats. Do they have any idea how much money I've poured into them? What on earth are those high-ranking officials even doing? Hansu comforted his mother. "Mother, he'll stop soon. Now there are even worms growing out of your head." Han Yongju gnashed her teeth. "My body is rotting again. I'm dying of impatience. How did that hilt brat dare to leave a scar on my vessel?" Hansu embraced her. "Mother, are you worried? I'll have Young Minha's body ready for you soon, so don't be too stressed, all right?" Han Yongju stared with wide eyes. "That's right, Hansu. Get started immediately." Scene changed to the practice room. Hansu was intimidating the female trainees. "I'm sure you've all heard the news about Hein. Some bastard, or perhaps some bitch, did this. This world is full of psychopaths who would dare to attack a high school girl with a knife in broad daylight. I am worried for your safety. To stabilize this atmosphere of anxiety, We will begin dormitory life starting tomorrow, so please be fully prepared when you come into work. Minha wondered, a dormitory? Is that absolutely necessary, sir? Hansu asked back, is there a reason you can't? Don't you know that idle dormitories are a mandatory requirement? Minha hesitated, but she thought to herself, if I'm not at home, mother and brother will be. Han Young said coldly, you certainly have a lot of demands. If you really can't do it, I'll stop you. Hansu sent a telepathic message to his sister. What do you think you're doing? The moment you leave a single scratch on her face, mother will kill you. Hansu smiled brightly and said, Minha, you understand, right? Han Young is just very concerned about Hyan. She's extremely sensitive right now, so please don't anger your scary older sister and just listen, okay? The chairwoman will explain everything to your parents, so pack your bags and meet us here tomorrow. Understood. The other girls replied, yes, sir. Only Minha stood there with a lingering worry. Living in a dorm. I'm a bit anxious because my brother has been changing so much lately. Scene changed to Lim Sion's house. The boy was straining every muscle to lift 2 8 kg dumbbells. Ravi's lifted a 30 kg dumbbell with one hand effortlessly. Watching this, he thought with concern, he calls that training. HMPH, how pathetic. Ravi's looked at the small amount of mana in his hand. My pathways are slowly becoming stronger. I can suppress humans using mana, but if I encounter a magic beast in this state, it will still be a difficult fight. Ravi's gritted his teeth. That bastard Bamb. If he's going to use me, he should at least teach me how to control the demon blood stone. Not long ago from Bamb, I should include the instructions for the demon blood stone in the letter. To my dear friend Ravi's, since you are still so weak, I will give you 2 gifts. First is the way to control the demon blood stone. Originally, blood stones were used to suppress the mana of prisoners. That's right, the blood stone contains the mana that was sealed within your remaining vengeful soul. I've modified it slightly so it can directly link the mana in your soul to your human body. That power will only be fully released once the demon blood stone is broken. Writing this, Bamb laughed like a madman. That means you have to strike your own left eye to shatter the stone. And as for the second gift, I've sent that child to you. I'm sorry, I love you, and I entrust my friend to your care. Bamb looked at the gift in his hand and thought, there, now I just need to send this letter to Ravi's. Read it carefully and find your strength again. And the result was that Ravi's never read it. Ravi's was only now beginning to suspect. Could the method have been written in that letter? Just then Street came rushing in panting. Lord Ravi's, something terrible has happened. Lim Sion was startled, thinking, it's running on 2 legs, Ravi's asked. What now? Street spoke breathlessly about Han Yongju and the twins. Ravi's asked, what about them? Street announced in a panic, it's Mara, that chairwoman Han Yongju, she is Mara herself. Lim Sion was confused. Mara, who's that? Street replied, she is the greedy witch, one of the 12 dark thrones. It seems Mara Bariak has seized a human body and is living here. Ravi's let out a smirk. Heh, so that woman has been hiding here all along. Many years ago, at a lavish party for the demon realm nobility, several women couldn't help but sigh at Ineas's beauty. Madam Ineas, you truly are the most beautiful goddess in the demon realm. Your nobility shines even when you are silent. How can someone be this beautiful? The highborn Ineas said, to have beautiful lips, you must first learn to keep the truth in your heart. A female demon marveled. Truly a lady of grace. Every word you speak is like poetry. It is because you speak the truth that you are always so beautiful. Another female demon, somewhat heavier, interjected. I've just had my daughter learn the art of eloquence, hoping she might one day assist Madame Ineas. I want to teach her that words can be as sharp as a blade, just like one's character. Ineas reached out her hand and said with a smile, I see, then I shall grant the young lady a blessing, the blessing of the silver tongue. The girls cheered with joy. Oh, thank you so much, Madame Ineas. Mara watched this display of flattery with envy, truly ridiculous. A female demon nearby said, Madame Belak, you look quite magnificent as well. Mara bit a worm in half and wore a cunning smile. Thank you. I shall grant your daughter a blessing as well. May she sink into a sea of desire and die in utter agony. The girl was completely traumatized by those words. Mara gritted her teeth in anger. Just you wait. I won't let this go. In the present, Street stared blankly at Ravi's. Is Madame Mara Belak furious with Madame Ineas? Ravi's nodded. According to my mother, she's been like that since she was a child. Naturally, my mother couldn't care less. As soon as she was promoted to the 12 Dark Thrones, she was caught stealing from the Well of Demon Souls, so she fled to the human world and turned it into a living hell. Lim Sion adjusted his glasses, puzzled. But why would that witch approach Minha? Besides, she might already know you are Ravi. The young man nodded. I've thought of that too, but if she knew, we wouldn't have lived in peace for this long. Anyway, at this stage, I can't defeat her, and those twins aren't ordinary either. Street put her hands on her hips and said, then we must increase the mana of the bloodstone. I'll go prepare immediately. Her face grew cunning, preparing for the first stage of the witch hunt, neighborhood trash cleanup. Scene changed to the supermarket. Minha was shopping with her mother. Minyu's mother cautioned her. Minha, if you want to quit even now, just say so. Ever since you started working, so many bad things have happened. I'm so worried. Minha reassured her. It's all right, Mom. Manager Han said the culprit will be caught soon. He was clearly just killing people at random. Minyu's mother asked, You've always dreamed of becoming a veterinarian, haven't you? Minha glanced over at a bag of dog food. The girl thought to herself, to make that dream come true, it will take a very long time. I want to free Mom from that hell as soon as possible, with my own strength. The girl quickly put on a smiling face again. Mom, opportunities like this aren't easy to find. Dreams often change. I'll become famous quickly and earn loads of money. Minyu's mother looked sad. If you live in a dorm, I won't be able to see you much anymore. Minha continued to reassure her. Don't worry about me or that man. Once the election is over, everything will settle down. Minyu's mother bit her lip. I'm sorry, Minha. You wouldn't have lost your motivation if I hadn't remarried. Minha placed a hand on her shoulder. Don't say that, Mom. You're still young, and it's been hard raising both me and my brother. Dad's death wasn't your fault. And before you two got married, he treated us quite well. Mom, we were just tricked. Her mother looked up at her daughter. Minha's face was full of determination. Mom, just wait a little longer. I will study and work very hard. Scene changed to the amusement park. Seeing the humans playing so happily. Ravi's wiped the corner of his mouth. Pathetic humans. What is there to be afraid of in that? Lim Sion wondered, Minyu, you're a demon, but you vomit so cleanly. Young Minyu's face flushed red with embarrassment. I'm only nauseous because I ate something spoiled. Lim Sion sighed. Look at what you're saying. I told you that you shouldn't have played. Ravi's gritted his teeth in anger. I am never going to play that ever again. The three leopards came to a halt in front of a haunted house. Ravi's asked, Street, is it here? Street nodded. Yes, Lord Ravi's, it is definitely here. The demon imprisoned in the human world recently escaped surveillance, but I tracked him down with my keen instinct. Beside him, Lim Sion's legs had turned to jelly. Ravi's asked further, so, what is his name? Street replied, he is known as Scream. He can transform human screams into a source of mana. He converts the sound waves of fear into demon realm energy to sustain himself. So bringing someone who can scream loudly here will attract his attention. Ravi snapped his head toward his friend. Really, you're finally going to be useful. Lim Sion flinched. I'm a man, I don't know the meaning of fear. I haven't screamed once since I was a kid. Ravi's dragged his friend inside anyway as Sion cried out helplessly. Wait, stop. Street waved them off. I'll keep watch at the exit. Be careful, you two. Inside the haunted house, Ravi's looked at the lifeless, undead props and wondered. Why are humans afraid of these things? They're just for decoration. Lim Sion clung tightly to Ravi's arm. Maybe it's like she said, I feel strange, something is here. Ravi sighed and said to his friend, that is exactly what we came to catch. Stop trembling. Suddenly, a zombie head dropped down. Both of them were terrified out of their wits and screamed like little girls. After calming down just a little bit, Lim Sion asked his friend, did you just curse? Were you startled too? Ravi's quickly made an excuse. Shut up, I was just pretending to see how the enemy would react. Ravi's turned the question back on him. That was your first scream, wasn't it? Lim Sion replied sheepishly. Well, I guess so. Are you sure this is the fastest way? Ravi's answered. Every time the Bloodstone reacts to wicked humans, a bit of its power is released, and if the Bloodstone can absorb mana from demons, it will become even stronger. On the ceiling, an eye slowly began to manifest. The demon named Scream tore through the space where he was hiding and crawled out. Scream wore a grin that stretched to his ears. That scream just now was as sweet and clear as deep red blood, as pure as a newborn baby's first cry. Lim Sion's legs went weak as he stammered. What is that thing? Scream reached an arm down toward Lim Sion. Your scream is delicious. Hurry, scream for me. Let me hear more. Lim Sion's voice trembled. Mean you this. This is a demon, right? Ravi's caught the demon's arm before it could touch Lim Sion. Don't you dare touch him. He is my servant. Scream wondered, who are you? You are not human. Ravi smirked. Scream, I wonder what kind of shriek I can pull out of your mouth. Scream swung his arm and struck Ravi's, sending him flying. The demon laughed loudly. Ha ha, what do you think you can do? Lim Sion saw Ravi's get knocked away and screamed. Scream began to absorb Lim Sion's scream. Yes, exactly. Keep screaming like that. Ravi's gritted his teeth and thought, right now, I can only use my left hand. Seeing Ravi's charge in, the demon fired a sonic blast. Where do you think you're going? Ravi's took the hit and was slammed back onto the ground. Lim Sion continued to scream at the top of his lungs like a girl. Watch out. Scream laughed with delight. Ha ha ha, more scream more, louder. Ravi's barked angrily. You cowardly brat, shut your damn mouth. Can't you see you're only making him stronger? Lim Sion quickly covered his mouth. Whoops, S-sort. Street gripped her large arm, her eyes full of fear. I'll turn them into headphones and wear them everywhere. The demon threw a massive punch at Ravi's. The young man leaned to the side, narrowly dodging the demon's attack. Ravi's clenched his fist, preparing to strike back. Who said I was afraid? Ravi's leaped up to punch but missed. Seeing this, the demon became even more amused. Ha ha. Look at you dancing around with those stupid hands. Adorable, you're so adorable. Ravi's landed and gritted his teeth, thinking, even when jumping, I'm still only at a human level. I can't defeat him with this body. With his massive frame, the demon easily caught Ravi's. Lim Sion was terrified but didn't dare to scream out loud. Mean you. Seeing Ravi's struggling to find a way out, Scream channeled mana into his fingertips and said, this is a blade forged from your friend's fear. If I gouge out your eyes, I wonder what kind of delicious scream you'll let out. Ravi spat a curse. Bullshit. You think a low-ranking demon like you can make me scream? Scream replied, let's find out then. The demon lunged to stab directly into Ravi's left eye. And this was the moment Scream sealed his own fate. Lim Sion was horrified as he witnessed the scene. Oh no, no. Shards of blood-red fragments fell away, and Scream flinched in surprise. What is this? A smirk played on Ravi's lips. What do you know? My vision has finally become clear. Bamb had previously written in the letter that Ravi's tore up. I've made a few modifications to the bloodstone, so that the mana sealed within your vengeful soul links to your human body, but that power will not be fully unleashed until the bloodstone is shattered. Ravi smiled radiantly as he channeled mana into his hand. That bastard Bamb. Did you really hide the method to awaken the bloodstone like this? Scream began to panic. Impossible. Why can't my blade of screams gouge the eye of a mere mortal like you? Ravi's clawed at the demon's hand. Because I am no mortal. Scream cried out in pain and released Ravi's. The young man hit the ground and immediately ordered Lim Sion. Hey Sion, open your mouth and scream. Lim Sion was confused. Won't the screaming make him stronger? Ravi's roared. Stop talking and just scream. Lim Sion clenched his fists and thought, I don't know what he's thinking, but I guess I just have to trust Minyu. Sion took a deep breath and screamed at the top of his lungs like a girl. Scream automatically absorbed the sound and laughed with delight. Ha ha ha, delicious scream. Ravi's looked down at his feet. With the bloodstone awakened, the seal on my right leg is broken. He began to concentrate mana into the sole of his foot. Seeing Sion continuously pumping power into him, Scream said smugly, you fool, you're just increasing my strength. That arrogance will be the death of you. Ravi's let out a soft laugh. It seems your movements slow down a bit when you're busy eating screams, don't they? Scream flinched. Ravi's lowered his body to build momentum for a leap. Now then, let's listen to your scream for a change. He lunged toward the demon's scream, channeling all his mana into his right arm, and delivered a direct punch to the demon's eye. Scream wailed in agonizing pain. Ravi smirked, thinking, I can feel it now that the bloodstone's shell is broke. If I keep absorbing the foul energy of demons, my strength will return even faster. The demon named Scream was gradually absorbed entirely by Ravi's into his eye, until not a single trace remained. Ravi stood there, sensing the surge of power, just as I suspected. This power increase is so immense that a human soul couldn't possibly compare. Now that the bloodstone is unsealed, all I need to do is absorb demon energy until my true strength returns. Lim Sion asked shakily, that demon looked like it was just absorbed by you. Are you okay? Ravi smirked, yeah, I'm fine. Let's go farm some more demons. Scene changed to the Nosi Entertainment Building. Minha had moved in. She thanked Han Young. Thank you for escorting me. Han Young replied, unpack and don't go anywhere until rehearsal. Minha nodded, yes ma'am. Han Young left coldly, slamming the door shut. Minha bit her lip and clenched her fists, thinking, mother, brother, I can do this. The girl still had no idea she was being watched by a madwoman. Mara was clawing at the screen until her nails nearly flipped back. Hansu, I'm so excited. If I transfer into her, will you still listen to me? The mommy's boy Hansu embraced her and replied, of course, mother. Then let's proceed immediately. Scene changed to the amusement park. As soon as Ravi stepped out of the haunted house, Street sensed a rush of mana. This blood power, could it be? Street bowed respectfully. Congratulations on recovering your mana, Lord Ravi's, blood master of all living beings. No matter where you go, crimson footprints will follow your every step. I, Street, will become my master's shadow and follow you to the ends of the earth. Ravi spoke up, don't be so dramatic. Give me the location of the next target, then go track Mara. I'll deal with her the moment I've absorbed enough strength, Street shouted. Understood, master. Scene changed to the second target. This demon was named Apapon. He liked to cling to charismatic people and eat mana from human lungs. The fellow was currently absorbing mana from cigarettes when Ravi's grabbed him by the head. "You're coming with me." Apapon flinched. What the hell are you doing?" Before he could even finish the sentence, the demon was absorbed by Ravi's, leaving absolutely no residue on the ground. Ravi's covered his nose, teeth gritted. "Damn it, this smell is foul too." Next was a demon named Asra. He specialized in absorbing the memories of drunks. Ravi's cleaved the demon's body in half with one hand before he could even let out a whimper. Ravi's remarked, "This one is also disgusting." Standing to the side, Lim Sion wondered, "I didn't know so many demons existed in the human world, but why must they absorb strength from humans to survive?" Ravi's explained to his friend, "When they flee to the human world, they lose their mana after passing through the barrier. That's why each of them must find a substitute to survive, otherwise they'll vanish." Lim Sion replied shakily, I see. So demon possession isn't just a superstition after all. Ravi's began to radiate mana from his right arm. "I think I have enough mana now. Should I give it a try?" Ravi's manifested a blade, leaving Lim Sion in awe. "Wow, Minyu, what is that?" Ravi's replied, "I've restored it, my damrackle, though this isn't its complete version yet." Lim Sion wondered, "By the way, is it dangerous to send street scouting alone?" Ravi's replied, "Don't worry. Her mana is so small they'd have to look very closely to even notice her." Street's stomach was currently growling loudly. "I'm hungry. At this rate, I'm going to starve to death." Street's eyes suddenly lit up. She flew toward a worm crawling on the ground. "Gotcha." The girl suddenly flinched. "Wait, what the hell is this? Why is it radiating Mara's mana?" Street flew off in a hurry. "I have to tell Master immediately." At that moment, a car sped out of the garage at No-See Entertainment. Hansu was excitedly bragging about his feat. "Mother, I drugged her very cleanly. Don't you think I'm impressive?" Mara replied, "Hes, very impressive. Right now, I feel like a withered old hag." Hansu urged his sister, "Han Young, hurry up, go." Minha had been drugged unconscious and had no idea what was happening. Scene changed to Ravi's. Street was mumbling with the worm still in her mouth. Ravi's shook his head in exasperation. "Spit it out before you speak. I can't understand a word you're saying." Street quickly transformed back into demon form. "Lord Ravi's, please look at this." Ravi's was puzzled. "What is it? It stinks." Street held up the bug. "This is definitely one of Mara's parasites. It seems Mara lost her form when she crossed the barrier and has possessed a human shell." Ravi's explained the reason for the parasites. "It proves Mara needs a new vessel. Mara's soul can't endure a human body for long." Lim Sion gasped. "So was that previous rehearsal actually targeting Minha's body?" Ravi's nodded. "Most likely. Mara has always been obsessed with things that are young and beautiful." Ravi's gritted his teeth in anger. "HMPH. Even so, she's still older than my mother. That old hag is elegantly insane." Lim Sion wondered, "So how old is your mother?" Ravi's replied arrogantly, "By human standards, she's about 6,375 years old." Lim Sion flinched. "What, then, how old are you?" Ravi stared blankly. "How old am I exactly? When I was little, my uncle let me observe the human world once. At that time, humans were building something." And Barca had laughed heartily. "Ha ha ha, do you see? This is the temple humans built to worship me. I am an entity that low-level gods like you can never hope to match. Understand, nephew?" Ravi's had snapped. "HMPH, what's there to be proud of?" Bamb adjusted his glasses and said, "Lord Barca, according to my knowledge, those things humans are building aren't for you. They are for the followers who worship the gods of the celestial realm." Barca jumped up. "What? Why would they worship a loser I defeated?" Bamb replied, "How should I know?" Barca pulled both nephews close, laughing loudly to hide his embarrassment. "Ha ha, regardless, I beat him, so it belongs to me now. Ha ha." Lim Sion was now staring at the old man Ravi's. "I heard the pyramids were built 4,000 years ago. This is far beyond anything I imagined." Street wondered, "What should we do now? Lord Ravi's sister might be devoured by Mara." Ravi sighed, lost in thought. "Minha is about to be devoured." Scene changed to the abandoned school, where Bauer was acting like a hardworking farmer tending to his flower. As luck would have it, Mara's group also drove to this godforsaken place. Hansu carried Minha while Han Young supported their mother. Mara began to recount her life story. "On the night of the crescent moon, the night I was born, there wasn't a single star in the sky." Han Young asked her, "Mother, is this the right place?" Mara nodded, "Yes. A place hidden from the eyes of the celestial realm, the demon realm, and the human world." Mara suddenly stopped. What is this?" She stood staring blankly at Bauer and his garden. Bauer was equally shocked that someone had found this place. "Who are you to dare set foot here?" Mara glared and said, I am Mara Buriek and this is my territory. Bauer flinched. What, Mara? The man sneered. Ha, you used to be one of the black seats, didn't you? Now you're just a fugitive who can't even use magic properly anymore. Am I right? This place is mine now, so beat it. Hansu kicked a few clumps of fertilizer on the ground and asked, "What's this?" Bego quickly cut him off. "Hey, watch your step." Mara let out a heavy sigh. "Fine, I'm just a nobody now. I've sacrificed far too much just to maintain this identity. That's why I came prepared. My children will be the ones to protect me." The Han young siblings began to radiate an overwhelming, sky-piercing demonic aura. Bego frowned, a half-demon, half-human hybrid, using your own kid as a meat shield. How pathetic can a mother get? Mara burst into laughter. "Ha ha, and what are they to you? I gave them life, so it's only natural they fulfill their duty as my children. Now, take your stinking pile of trash and get lost." Bego gritted his teeth in a fit of rage. "Trash, you say?" He charged forward like a madman, yelling, "Why does no one recognize the value of my sacred flowers?" Han Young leaped out to intercept Bego, driving a knee straight into his chin. Mara smiled triumphantly. "Ha ha, well done, my son." Mara recalled the time she nursed them. "Damn it, what a waste of soul spring water. Do you have any idea how much I suffered to steal that?" I said swallow it. Seriously, mother of the year right here. Such an Asian parent. Mara thought to herself, Soul Spring Water, a spring located in Jenahim, the deepest valley in the demon realm. A place filled with the tears of the gods who created the world. This celestial water is the core essence for all mana, the only elixir capable of satiating my grid. Gamud Bindika hoarded the Soul Spring Water when it wasn't even his to begin with. He really is a stingy bastard. I have no choice, even if it means wasting it. Mara spoke to her children, who were barely conscious. Drink it all and protect me, until I find the precious gem hidden within the human realm. Scene shifts to Ravi's. The three of them were running at full speed, guided by Street. Lim Sion asked doubtfully, Are you sure they went this way?" Street replied. "Mara's rotting stench is getting stronger by the second." Upon spotting the abandoned school, Street shouted, "Here, she's definitely in here." Lim Sion was utterly shocked. "There's an abandoned school here." Street shifted back into her human form. She winced and said, "My nose is working overtime." Lim Sion instructed his friend, "Minyu, you have to make sure you save Manhwa, okay?" Knowing this guy Sion was trying to bail, Ravi's made a face and threw an arm around his friend's shoulder to drag him along. "All right, let's go." Lim Sion panicked. Me too. I'll just be a burden." Ravi stared him down and said, "A burden? Not at all. You'll make a high-quality meat shield." Lim Sion was horrified. What? A meat shield. Street was also planning her escape. "Lord Ravi's, I shall pray for your victory over Mara. Good luck." Ravi's turned and glared at Street. "You're coming too. We need to balance the numbers." Street was terrified. Why? Why do I have to deal with this shit too? She started to regret choosing the wrong side. Are fame and fortune really worth it? I really should have stayed under Lord Ban. Inside the building, Manhwa had been placed in the center of a magic circle. Mara said with a grin, "Excellent, hee. Now it's almost finished." Bego was on his knees, begging, Lady Mara of Greed, please spare me. You'll definitely need me if you plan on living in the human realm." Hansu, who was holding Bego down, spoke up. "Mom, let me keep him. I've had some annoying chores lately. We can make him do the housework." Bego, his face bruised and swollen, nodded frantically. Yes, give me any task and I'll finish it as fast as possible." Just then, Ravi's voice rang out. "I guess scum really does have a way of finding each other. A coward who betrayed his entire clan, a thief on the run fueled by greed, and that pair of hybrid twins. The four of you make quite the rogue squad." Mara was startled. "You are?" Hansu let out an "Oh. It's Manhwa's older brother." Lim Sion looked around and asked Ravi's, Are these all corpses? This is beyond insane." Ravi's looked at the red-haired fertilizer and gritted his teeth. "I was wondering where he'd crawled off to. Turns out he was here. See that? Shut up, Sion. If I hadn't saved you, that would have been your end. So from now on, you better do as you're told. Got it?" Lim Sion thought tremblingly. How disgusting and terrifying. This really is a world of demons. Bego gnashed his teeth. You're the one who ruined my plan." Mara narrowed her eyes slightly. "I knew he wasn't an ordinary human." Hansu said smugly, "See, I told you I have a good eye for people. Mom, do you know who he is?" Lim Sion blurted out before he could think. "I'll just introduce him flat out so everyone knows. This is Lord Ravi's Bindika, the one and only crown prince of Demon King Gamud. He was exiled to the human realm for slaughtering the entire Hilt clan." Mara gritted her teeth in anger. "What? Ravi's Bindika, your Ineas's criminal son." Bego shouted in fury. "Ravi's Bindika, you're the dog who murdered my whole family." An idea suddenly struck Bego. "Wait, this is my chance. Right now, he's not that bloodthirsty butcher, just a prisoner trapped in a mortal body. I can avenge my clan with these very hands." Mara hissed every word. Ineas, that interfering bitch. That slut even sent her son to the human realm to meddle in my life. Street looked ready for battle, while Ravi's remained calm, thinking, I can't fight all three at once with my current strength. That Bago guy might stab me in the back at any moment. How should I handle him? Ravi spoke up. Hey Bago, get lost. Bago screamed at the top of his lungs. You still think you're in the demon realm? I'll kill you myself the moment. Before Bago could finish his sentence, Ravi's barked a command. Shut your damn mouth and get out of here if you don't want to die. Bago, who had been acting tough just moments ago, cowered before Ravi's terrifying aura. The young man continued calmly. Tell the demons in the human realm that I, Ravi's Bindika, have descended as the Blood Lord. Tell them to stay in their place if they don't want to be hunted down and killed by me. Bago was paralyzed with fear. What? You can use mana in a human body. How? How is that possible? Bago turned tail and ran. Damn it. He threw himself out of a high-story window and vanished into the night. After brushing Bago aside, Ravi's turned back to Mara and provoked her. Hey, you old hag, if you want to look younger, try experiencing some bone-deep pain yourself, instead of running around stealing other people's bodies. Mara flew into a rage upon hearing that. Old hag, you arrogant brat, how dare you speak to a senior in that tone? She was so angry she began coughing up blood everywhere. Hansu rushed to support her. Mom, don't overexert yourself. Mara wiped the blood away with her hand. Fine. I was quite curious about the child Ineas cherished like a treasure. She flashed a devious smile. I wonder what her face will look like when she sees her son torn apart by the children of the woman she always loathed. Ravi's matched her with an eerie smile of his own. I'm curious too. I wonder what the expression of an old woman who spent her life consumed by jealousy will be when her children are killed by the son of the woman she always loathed. Mara commanded her two children, Hansu, Han-young, which of you will go first to bring me that brat's tongue? Hansu conjured a spiked flail on a chain and said confidently, Me, obviously, Mom, just wait a moment. Han-young remained stone-faced, not saying a word. She had already manifested two massive blades in her hand. Hansu swung his flail and charged. Get back, Han-young. My Venorin is more than enough to shut this brat up. Hansu hurled the spiked flail toward Ravi's group. The three of them dodged just in time. Lim Sion screamed, seriously. Han-young took the opening to engage Ravi's in close combat. Move, Hansu. Hansu shouted, Hey sis, you're in the way. Han-young barked back, shut up and provide backup from the rear. Ravi's thought as he parried the blades, they have zero teamwork. I can exploit that. Ravi's began to taunt them. At this rate, are you sure one of you will be able to kill me before dawn? Hansu said angrily, Watch it, I almost hit them. Ravi's continued his analysis. They're blocking each other's attacks. That mommy's boy is overconfident, while this cold-faced girl is excessively cautious. This perfect duo is falling apart. Ravi struck hard, deflecting Han-young's blade toward Hansu's flail, causing the guy to explode in anger. Damn it, again. While Han-young was distracted, Ravi seized the moment and slashed her across the abdomen. Seeing the wound wasn't deep, Ravi's thought to himself, even for hybrids, they're strong. What the hell did Mara do to them? Hansu saw an opening and swung his flail directly at Ravi's. Serves you right, Han-young, this kid is mine. The flail grazed him, leaving a gash on Ravi's similar to the one he gave Han-young. She wasn't about to be outdone. Gripping her twin blades tightly, she lunged forward. I'll be the one to take his head. Han-young swung her blades, landing two more slashes on Ravi's body. She suddenly flinched. What? He dodged my vital strike. Hansu came running back with his flail. Ravi's, make sure you don't get killed by her. You have to die by my hand. Ravi's dodged the spiked flail, only to have to use his blade again to block Han-young's follow-up attack. The girl gritted her teeth and pressed her blade down. Just die. Ravi's quickly backed away, thinking, I don't have enough mana to take them both on. This plan is a bit cheap, but I'll try to provoke them. Ravi spoke up. Hey, your sister is way stronger than you. Hansu lost it upon hearing that. What? Who's stronger than who? I knew how to swing a sword before she was even born. I'm gonna kill you, seeing that the guy had completely lost his cool. Ravi's was surprised at how well the taunt worked. It actually worked. Seeing Hansu rush past her, Han-young shouted in anger. You idiot, what the hell are you thinking? Why are you charging in like a moron? Hansu yelled back, shut up. I'm going to be the first one to bring his corpse to Mom. Ravi's thought, good, his attacks are getting more reckless. That also means he's just entered my striking range. Over on Street's side, she was clashing with the old hag Mara. Street said, Mara of the 12 Black Seats was once someone I respected. To think you've become so twisted and unable to control your own greed, I'm truly disappointed. Mara was livid. How dare you call me twisted, you lowly beast. She extended her arm like a blade, drawing a bit of blood with a shallow stab. Street gritted her teeth and thought, now Sion. The boy in glasses ran toward the magic circle, pushing against the barrier with all his might, but it didn't budge. To make matters worse, the barrier nearly burned his hands. It's so hot. No, wait, why did it suddenly get so cold? Lim Sion gnashed his teeth, trying desperately to push through. Minha, open your eyes. Street's battle with Mara grew increasingly intense. She thought, I'll hold her off for a while. Sion, hurry up and save Minha. The helpless Lim Sion was blown back by the barrier. The young man looked at his trembling hands, feeling a pang of despair. I'm just a human, I can't do anything. Lim Sion suddenly thought of the close bond between the three of them, and he clenched his teeth. Even so, I won't give up. Minha, we're going to save you no matter what. Will the power of friendship help Sion save Minha? The answer is no. The guy punched the barrier with his bare hands, but it didn't even leave a scrap. Meanwhile, Street was getting absolutely wrecked. After cornering Street, Mara spoke up. Time to end this little game, shall we? Street thought through gritted teeth. Even with such a ragged body, she's still this strong. I guess the 12 Black Seats title isn't just for show. Mara laughed out loud. What are you thinking? Did you think I'd be easy to take down just because of this decaying body? She launched 2 iron stakes that pinned Street straight to a house pillar. The girl screamed in agony. Og, it was Street's shoulder. Mara said triumphantly, watch closely and witness the end of these vermin. Street turned and warned Lim Sion, who was still busy punching the barrier. No, Sion, run. The small boy started and quickly turned his head to look. Lim Sion writhed in pain on the cold floor. The witch Han Yangju stared at him, flashing a grotesque smile as she taunted him. I'll use you as nutrients along with that little girl, so just wait right there. As he struggled to move, he thought in a panic, my body, it won't move. At that moment, she began casting a spell on Jung Minha's body, saying excitedly, I've wasted far too much time on these brats. Then she screamed out in satisfaction, I swear upon the blade that can split the soul. O moon of the oath, I willingly renounce this rotting flesh. Let the flames of greed incinerate my bloodline and open a new path. Tear through the gates of the heart and remake this light. Right then her eyes suddenly flared with an ominous light as she roared, O darkness, heed my call. My oath is fulfilled. Seeing this, Jung Minyu took notice and shouted in worry, no. Where did that blood-red blade come from? At the same time, his eyes turned unusually cold. Then the hand gripping his sword swung powerfully toward the group in front of him. A single strike from his blade, enough to drain a massive amount of their strength. At that moment, Han Young shouted to stop him. Stop right now. But Han Su stubbornly yelled back, no way, I have to be the first. Suddenly, his body was tightly bound by a coil of magical rope. Then an invisible force yanked him back with a violent pull. And before he knew it, his mouth was sealed shut with thick layers of tape. His body was dragged into a dark, unnoticed corner of the room. There, Jin Yihe was quietly holding him captive, taunting him in a low voice. How dare you bullies pick on our dear Ravi's Opa like this, huh? Out of nowhere, a massive amount of slime began to pour out. It flowed from Mara Velias's mouth and streamed directly into Jung Minha's mouth. Her body took in the slime she poured out, and then she let out a soft hiccup, causing the liquid to suddenly surge upward, before it slowly flowed back down into her body, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. Unexpectedly, she woke up looking perfectly healthy and said deviously, finally, I have obtained the perfect vessel. At the same time, her old body collapsed onto the floor. She held up her 2 arms, admiring them as she spoke. This fresh body, this sensation. Then she began to touch her body, saying pervertedly, this is it. I will enjoy this beauty forever. Seeing this, Lim Sion screamed, no. Street also let out a desperate cry, no, while Minha, who was still fighting, got distracted, prompting Han Su to snap, where do you think you're looking? He muttered in frustration, damn it, I arrived at the shop too late. At that moment, Jin Yihe looked at him with an obsessed, flirtatious gaze and sighed, Ravi's Opa, those beautiful lips. Even Opa's new appearance is so seductive. He then used his own arm to take the blow from the blade. She hid behind a wall, trying to snap herself out of it. Get it together. Belsha Opa is in danger right now. Suddenly, she became shy and worried. But if I step in, Ravi's Opa might see me. She shouted shyly, just imagining it is so embarrassing. Even so, I can't just stand here admiring him forever. What should I do? Han Su, lying there, was beyond shock. And taking advantage of the moment, he tried to crawl his way out. Just then, Han Young spotted him and asked worriedly, Han Su, who did this to you? At that exact moment, he quickly plotted, this is my chance. He then struck Han Su directly, making her scream, Mom, that idiot Han Su. Now Jung Minha began to take notice of them. As strange slime suddenly appeared on her body, Han Yangju, hiding within that body, spoke up, Sue, what are you doing down there? Her arm quietly reached out to set him free. And immediately after, he yelled in frustration, "Where is that brat? Where did she come from so suddenly?" She replied slyly, "It seems we have a little scaredy mouth." Then she showed off proudly, "Mom, are you all done? How do I look? Am I pretty?" He remarked, "Mom, you don't look like yourself at all." Seeing this, Lim Sion whispered in despair, "So she really did take over Minha's body. Is it really all over now?" Street, still held captive, quickly called out, "Lord Ravi's, there's still a chance. Minha's soul hasn't completely vanished yet." Hearing that, he gasped, "What?" She struggled to continue. "Tonight is a moonless night. On a night when the moon hides itself, the boundary between the human and demon realms grows thin. Magic, contracts, and even souls become most unstable." The sky grew darker as she spoke. "Until this night ends, Mara's ritual cannot be considered complete. Her original body still lies there motionless." She shouted, "Minha's soul is definitely still in there." Suddenly, Minha's eyes filled with panic. She struggled and cried out for help. "Minyu Oppa, my body is moving on its own. Please save me." Hearing this, he lost focus, confused. Is that really Minha's soul? Suddenly, she began to laugh eerily. Rebellious emerged, taunting arrogantly. "How amusing. Well, my voice sounds exactly like the real Minha, doesn't it?" Infuriated, he barked, "You dare play games with me." She gave a cold command. "Hansu Hanyang, I'm tired of this. Kill them all now." Upon receiving the order, he charged forward like a madman, yelling excitedly, "Yes, mother, we'll really finish them off now. Mom, hurry up and find that mouse from earlier and kill her too." He also began to swing his blade in a fit of rage, thinking to himself, "I can't believe I can't even handle these low-class descendants and have to endure such humiliation." In another corner, she spoke up with satisfaction, "You've waited long enough, haven't you? It's time for me to feast and increase my power." Seeing this, Street's eyes welled up with a sense of injustice. While she taunted deviously, "Now, who should I enjoy first?" A rare look of fear flashed in Lim Sion's eyes. Suddenly, a strange ball dropped right at her feet, taking her by surprise. "What's this?" She stared intently at the sphere. Unexpectedly, a mini doll popped out. It fixed a sharp, cold gaze upon her body. This made her jump back in sheer terror. Seeing this, he also spoke up in shock. "That is." As thick murky smoke filled the room, Rebellious covered her nose and grumbled, "What is this? What's this foul stench?" Suddenly, a figure dashed through the air. It was Jin Yihe. She lunged toward Street and pulled out the 2 iron stakes. Then she attached 2 large mechanical hands to her arms, making Street gasp in surprise. "That is." She quickly finished the task while Street was still in a daze. Then she turned away and gave a cold order, "Use this." Street asked hesitantly, "Are you Jin Yihe?" At that moment, Lim Sion was being held down by a stream of slime. She approached, pulling him up while whispering, "Human, use this to help him." He was so shocked he stammered, "You are." She vanished, leaving a gun floating in midair. Street admired the 2 hands, marveling, "This is a weapon reinforced with the power of the demon realm, isn't it? How did Jin Yihe get her hands on something like this?" He was equally shocked. "What is this? Why did Jin Yihe give this to me?" His hands fumbled with the gun she had just handed him, when he suddenly let out a shout as a pink mist enveloped the room. His mind spiraled out of control, causing him to yell in pain, "My head feels so strange, and my heart is racing." Suddenly, his pupils constricted, his mind still trapped in a chaotic mess, his head spinning as if he could no longer breathe. Meanwhile, she was surrounded by the toxic gas, screaming defiantly, "Where did you get that pile of scrap metal? Do you think I don't know what kind of petty tricks you're playing?" From somewhere, a figure lunged out, clawing at her with sharp hands. But she countered quickly, snapping in irritation, secretly tucking a toy in there. "Ha, do you really think it will change anything?" Street fought back fiercely. "A toy? You won't know until you try it." She let out a savage roar. "The result is already clear. You're just a low-class beast that was thrown away." Street snapped back aggressively. Compared to someone who threw themselves away for their bottomless greed, that means nothing. Suddenly, a foot stepped forward, and she began to act deviously again, saying eerily, "So, it wasn't just an ordinary toy after all, was it?" Then, thrusting out her grotesque arm, she screamed, "Whatever, I'll devour you all the same." Street looked at the tentacles with worry. "The tentacles are getting thicker. I can't cut through them." Now she began to seize her chance, plotting her move. Mara is starting to adapt to her new body. The more time we waste, the worse it gets. She's becoming more monstrous by the second. She threatened arrogantly, "I wonder how a fresh, struggling demon realm beast will taste. Will it be delicious?" Hearing this, Street grew more and more anxious. A cord connecting from her abdomen caught her eye. It was the umbilical cord connected to Yangju. As she was about to be backed into a corner, Street reached a conclusion. That's it. Minha is just an ordinary human. Seeing her original body lying there, she realized that she couldn't absorb all of Mara's power at once. Meanwhile, she was relentlessly attacking her. But Street managed to deduce in time. We have to cut the umbilical cord connecting her to Yangju's corpse somehow. I have to break that magic circle. In a corner, Lim Sion had regained his composure, calmly realizing that his breathing was steady. Holding the gun, he thought to himself, What am I supposed to do with this thing now? Suddenly, he noticed Mara Velias's body being protected by a magic circle. He quickly glanced over at her, watching her fight while wondering, the tentacles are connected to Yangju's corpse, aren't they? He was lost in thought. In that case, the transfer process into Manhwa isn't finished yet. That magic circle made him realize it was there to protect the original body until the transfer was fully complete. With that in mind, he grew even more determined. It's not too late if I can just destroy that magic circle. His eyes suddenly glowed with an unusual light. He froze in place when he discovered something. I can see the structure of the magic circle. Is it really just geometry after all? He reached into the air, touching something to calculate. Geometry is made of shapes, and shapes can be turned into formulas. A magic circle is nothing more than a structure calculated with numbers. As his hands moved, he reached a conclusion. This circle is maintaining the connection between Yangju's corpse and Manhwa. I need to solve the formulas and find the weak point. His hands suddenly began scribbling strange mathematical formulas. He calculated frantically, using the full capacity of his brain to analyzing the magic barrier. The core is a cubic polynomial, with mana flow following an S-curve. The nucleus of the sealing spell lies at the extreme values. Then the derivative. Seeing this, Street, who was struggling to fight, was also stunned. Is that a magic formula? Is Sion really decoding the magic circle right now? As she resisted the power of the hands, she thought, thanks to the weapon Jin Yi gave him, Sion can interpret the magic. Meanwhile, she was still immersed in pleasure, screaming repeatedly, "Come here, you little mouse." Street began to find the will to survive. No matter what, while Sion is decoding the magic circle, I have to try and stall for as much time as possible. Now his hands never stopped solving the difficult math, gradually reaching the end, converting the structure of the magic circle into a matrix. The main diagonal mana vector is a symmetric matrix. Then he smiled and said with satisfaction, if I find the eigenvalue, there will be only one single weak point. Then his eyes lit up, showing his excitement. Found it. Fx equals 0, its weakness is finally exposed. Finally, he boldly raised the gun and spoke. Magic circle, your minimum value is next. The bullet flew from the barrel as he cheered. This is your destruction. Immediately after, he was so happy that he jumped for joy. The immense power of the bullet pierced through the magic barrier. What? It seeped deep inside, slowly reaching her body. Only then did she realize what was happening and screamed. What? Lim Sion and the gun were blown far away. She cried out in despair, How? How could you break my magic circle? But he didn't care, still lost in his triumph. I did the math, the formula has been proven. He thought of the gun and reached a conclusion based on his calculations. Then he fell asleep mid-thought, the magic circle having collapsed. While she, on the contrary, was screaming frantically, how could these weaklings do this? My physical body hasn't been fully transferred yet. At that moment, a shout rang out from somewhere. Well done, Sion, I'll take care of the rest. It was Street's voice. She charged straight toward that body while she was yelling, Hey, what do you think you're doing? She didn't care and stepped directly on her umbilical cord, frantically tearing at the cord. She stood there, yelling in anger. How dare you try to rip me away? She had to endure a powerful attack from her. Her body was blown far back, and she walked toward her original body in frustration, saying loudly in despair, I can't let everything fall apart now. She touched her body and cried out in pain, My body, my noble body. I can't afford to lose even a tiny piece of flesh. Even though she was pushed far away, Street still struggled to reply. Greed grows like a tree, but eventually it will break on its own when it can no longer stand its own weight. And when something breaks like that, filth will inevitably cling to it, layer upon layer. Hearing this, she grew even more infuriated, threatening loudly, What the hell are you talking about? You low-class beast, I'll chew you up until there's nothing left but bone. Street gave her a lecture in her exhaustion. Now, both this thing and your greed will burn together. Isn't that right? Lord Ravi's, before her eyes, the protagonist was now radiating an absolutely overwhelming presence. Han Young, despite being held upside down by her body, never stopped apologizing. Mom, I'm sorry, that thing. He absorbed the red smoke and suddenly became stronger. Meanwhile, Jung Minha, witnessing the scene, widened her eyes in shock and thought, no way was that smoke just now the cattle. Meanwhile, on the other side, Jin Yi watched slowly with eyes full of obsession, flashing back to an earlier moment where a woman held a massive syringe in her hand. According to her thoughts, that person who was once sealed in the demon realm, It's a good thing I managed to get blood from Ravi's body. I plan to keep it forever, but there's no other way now. Ravi's Bamb said this. A special serum has been transplanted into your new body. If it can absorb blood from the original body, you will be able to regain a part of your true power. So, Ravi's, please accept my gift, and once again cause a stir just like in the old days. Right now, Young Minu's eyes were wide and dark as he interrupted. It's been a long time since I've felt this refreshed. Meanwhile, Young Minha suddenly became agitated and screamed in fury. You useless fools, can't the two of you handle one simple task like this? However, he showed no mercy and abruptly yanked Han Su's shirt with force, then proceeded to pull hard on the necklace around Han Young's neck, making her cry out. The two of them gritted their teeth at the demon, when suddenly both of them performed a synchronized and quickly broke free from Young Minu's grasp. As soon as he got away, he went mad and charged toward him. Thanks, Mom. Now I'm really gonna kill him. She didn't hesitate either and immediately rushed at him from the other side while roaring. Die, die, just die. However, Young Minu easily blocked both attacks with his bare hands. Then the possessed Young Minha flew straight at him in a rage, her mouth not forgetting to utter mockingly. Ravi's Bindika, you bastard who calls yourself a demon prince, why are you risking your life for these lowly humans? She isn't even your biological sister. But Young Minu didn't rush to answer and instead muttered, that sweet cake. Then his eyes glared sharply as he growled. It truly tasted delicious. Those words simultaneously caused her eyes to fly wide open in shock. What? On the contrary, he continued to bring up the story from the past. The cake that this body's younger sister fed me. It didn't taste like anything from this world. It tasted like the heavens. This caused him from the other side to feel irritated and interject mockingly. What the hell are you talking about? You're a demon. Why are you mentioning the heavens? But Young Minu remained steadfast in his words and even asked, have you two ever fed each other cake? Han Su nearby immediately cut in with a rude tone. Are you crazy? If anything, we'd just throw it in each other's faces. His hands continued to attack fluidly, while his voice responded with complete indifference. Is that so? In just a short moment, he slashed her throat in a straight line. The wound was not shallow at all, deep enough to spray a stream of blood. Those drops of blood splattered onto Young Minu's face and even his mouth. He didn't hesitate to use his tongue to clean it off, but as soon as he tasted it, his eyes suddenly went wide. Young Minu's mind once again drifted back to the past, but this time it was Han Young's when she was still innocent. Mom, I got a 10. At that time, a tiny Han Su also excitedly spoke up. Mom, I've cleaned the whole house, I'm so hungry. However, Han Yongju at that time snapped. Shut up, if you're hungry, go drink water. Immediately, she left the house and slammed the door, not forgetting to curse at the useless bunt. Those words unintentionally hurt those two children, immediately causing both to lose motivation and discard what they had just done. Studying, cleaning. They thought sadly, nothing I do ever makes Mom praise me. Moving to another scene at a coffee shop. Han Yongju looked at the bustle around her and repeatedly complained. If it weren't for you kids, men would be following me like rain. Look at that fake smile over there, it's nauseating. Yang, Mom really doesn't like that girl, you understand, right? Han Young beside her also followed her gaze, falling into a strange silence. Without hesitation, she stood up and moved slowly. Her footsteps suddenly became hurried, and immediately she crashed straight into that girl. That made the girl furious, shouting, "Damn it, what was that?" While Han Yongju had to rush over and say, "Are you okay?" She didn't stop cursing. "Damn it, how annoying. What about my clothes?" Meanwhile, she pulled her away while apologizing. "I'm so sorry, I'll buy you a new outfit to change into." Then they left the room as Han Yongju called out, "Come on, kids." She put her arms around both children and continued, "What should we do now?" Then a satisfied sneer suddenly pulled at her lip, and immediately she hugged Han Su beside her, exclaiming, "Our Yang is so kind, isn't she? So adorable. Did you see her face? Acting all virtuous, she deserved." That made her freeze up while secretly rejoicing. Finally, Mom praised me. Seeing that, Han Su became competitive and spoke up. "Mom, let me do it next time, I can do it too." Hearing that, Han Yongju didn't stop him but added, Okay, you try it next time." Meanwhile, Han Su stared at her satisfied face and secretly reasoned. If I hit the person Mom is jealous of, she will praise me. And that thought lasted until adulthood, as Han Su stood before the collapsed body of a woman. If I hit the person Mom hates. Han Yongju stood nearby smiling brightly, making her think, Mom will praise me. Immediately she uttered words of praise. Oh, why is Yang so good at that? Do you really do everything Mom tells you to? Even as the blade dripped blood, Han Young still replied, yes. Standing before that corpse, she explained softly, everything Mother ordered. That made her very excited and she turned to cup her face. So cute, so you can keep killing next time, right, my darling? She softly replied again. Yes, I will do it. If I kill the person Mother orders. Han Young leaned her head against her mind affirming. Mother will love me. A smile now bloomed on her lips, a truly happy smile. Returning to the reality, Young Minyu, after reading those memories, remarked, you really have raised these children very well. And Hansu currently is so deranged that he insists on killing him. Die like I told you, die. Even Han Young from the other side wanted that and screamed, I will kill him, I'll kill him first. Young Minha nearby saw that and roared in encouragement. That's right, kill him fast. Get that bastard out of my sight right now. Seeing that, Young Minyu swung his sword while reflecting. Seriously, the true nature of demons is so despicable. Even in a one-on-two, he still easily suppressed both of them. Then Young Minyu's eyes grew wide and savage. I admit you are a demon worthy and qualified enough to die by my hand. Noticing that expression made her think in shock. His eyes have changed. Her teeth instinctively gritted as she thought further. Just like that beast of the battlefield back then. In her mind, she associated the image with Ravi's uncle, Barca. On the other side, Han Young had been severely wounded and screamed pathetically, damn it, my hand. While Hansu beside him didn't care and even mocked. Idiot, you should have been more careful. Suddenly, Young Minyu rushed over and pointed out. You're worried because he's your brother, right? While she was still annoyed, he shouted from behind, blaming. It's all your fault, Hansu, you piece of trash. You should have finished your mission properly. As for her, who was fighting him, hearing those words made her glare and turn. What did you just say? Han Young became even more deranged and uttered. Kill him. Kill this bastard right now, or I'll kill you first. This made Hansu freeze in disbelief. You really? Young Minyu took the opportunity of their bickering to swing his blade and leap up. That's right, keep fighting, you idiots. At this point she realized, and her eyes widened in surprise. Yet without a single wasted movement, he quickly grabbed him. Simultaneously, he swung his sword, and Han Young was pushed by Hansu in front of the blade to take the attack. Immediately, he had to collapse and roar in agony. The piercing pain ran through her body, making Han Young unable to stand as she screamed. It hurt so much. That sensation made his body go numb, and he had to tilt his head back and shout. Mom. Seeing that pathetic sight, Young Minyu cursed loudly, useless until the very end. Sue, leave that brat behind and come here and fight. She was still close to Young Minyu, and hearing her say that, she obeyed. Yes, mother. Meanwhile, Han Young had collapsed to the ground, still screaming in resentment. No, don't leave me. He used his last breath to plead. Mom, mom. However, she didn't care about him at all and only focused on destroying Young Minyu. Die, stop resisting in vain. However, his flexible body quickly dodged every attack. At the same time, his brain was still working in cycles. I've handled one. But looking at that motionless corpse, he continued to calculate. Mara's body has almost finished the possession. If I waste any more time, Minha won't be able to come back. I don't know how long this body can endure. Suddenly, Young Minyu grabbed that blade firm in his thought. But I have to try. Immediately, he took the knife from Han Su's hand, while the other arm quickly grabbed her waist, and the other hand discarded the blade and moved to her head. Without hesitation, Young Minyu leaned down and bit hard into Han Su's neck. Despite the scream of agony, he still focused on that stream of blood. This scene made the possessed Young Minha's eyes widen in horror. No. What the hell is this? As for her, after being released, she couldn't stand straight, and then lost all strength and collapsed to the ground. After drinking the blood, Young Minyu's power seemed upgraded. I will push the blood to the maximum limit. This body can handle and increase my power immediately. Instantly, he rushed toward her, while swinging his arm in that direction. Young Minha still used her tentacles to resist fiercely. Don't come near me, you bastard. However, he didn't stop and got closer and closer. Realizing the ineffectiveness of her attacks made her even more panicked. Why won't you die, Ravi's Bindika? On the other hand, contrary to that effort, Young Minyu was actually gritting his teeth. It feels like my whole body is disintegrating. This vessel can't handle it. His arm tensed up as he continued that thought. It feels like being torn to shreds until death. Immediately, Young Minyu slipped through the tentacles and rushed close to her. I've missed this so much. Young Minha, seeing his skill, widened her eye, and he was now standing right beside her after weaving through. Realizing she couldn't escape made her scream, No, you bastard. Are you going to ruin everything at the last minute? However, Young Minyu didn't answer but swung his hand, quickly pinning Young Minha's body to the ground, making her scream. His hands gripped her neck tightly, despite the violent screaming. Let go of me, how could someone like you dare? He still didn't let go, only slowly affirming, It's over. Your filthy life is finally done. Young Minha continued to struggle with a tone of disbelief. I can't die by someone like you. Young Minyu showed no mercy and grabbed the staff nearby. This is my final warning. If you voluntarily leave Minha's body right now, I will spare your life. Hearing that opportunity made her gasp in shock. What? You'll spare me? His aura now was no different from his father's as he continued. That's right, I, Ravi's Bindika, swear on the honor of my father, the great demon king. But suddenly another thought popped into young Minha's head. I see, this guy is afraid I'll self-destruct if I don't leave this body. It's a pity to lose this vessel, but the important thing is to survive and find another one. Then she laughed maniacally and began to speak up. Certainly, the lineage of the great demon king won't lie when using family honor. Lower your sword. If you do that, I'll do what you want. I really have no other choice now. Seeing that recklessness made Young Minyu freeze, and the magic staff in his hand suddenly vanished in a wisp of smoke. He slowly moved away from her and stood up straight, then spoke in anticipation. Now get out of there. Young Minha, after being released, still felt discomfort in her neck and grimaced before replying. Fine. Suddenly, a magical smile bloomed on her lips. In an instant, the soul of the monster shot out. I'm leaving, you idiots. Seeing that, Young Minyu sneered with enro, and immediately swung his demonic hand, using it to grip its soul tightly. Only then did it realize and began to struggle violently. What this arm is, this isn't a human arm. He still kept a smile on his lips and began to clarify everything. As one of the 12 black seats, you really believe others easily, don't you? To tell you the truth, I didn't even know how to pull you out of Minha's body. This caused it to widen its eyes in horror. What, you bastard? So it was all just a lie, even when you swore on your family honor and your father. Suddenly, Young Minyu held the monster high in his hand while revealing his cunning. You know, I only care about keeping my own honor. The purple-eyed, blue-skinned monster shrieked and struggled in agonizing rage. No, my body, that's my body. I don't want to leave. Let me go. Young Minyu curled his lip in utter contempt. What a pathetic sight. The monster was cast out of her body, and the moment it emerged, he snatched it up. It wailed at the top of its lungs. Wait, hold on, please save me. I'll do anything you command. The monster writhed, screaming, please. But then, from behind, Hansu stumbled to her feet, clutching a sword. That's right, well done. Yang, hurry up and kill this bastard. Before she could launch her attack, Han Young drove a blade straight through her. He said coldly, how sly, trying to hog all the credit for yourself again. In a bloody scene like this, I won't let that happen. Then both of them collapsed onto the cold floor. Seeing this, he flew into a rage. You bastard, is this how you throw away my final chance? Young Minyu looked at him icily and countered. They called you mother with all that desperation, only to die in such a ridiculous way. He seemed even more oblivious, uttering shameless words. Please, I beg you, I won't touch this girl and I'll move to another body, okay? Your mother and I used to be as close as sisters. His face remained stoic, looking at him with emotionless eyes. He hurriedly explained, you don't believe me, it's the truth. Ask Inia's. She called me big sister and always treated me well. Hearing this, Street couldn't take it anymore and spoke up. Your children just died, yet in the end, you only think of yourself. Are you even a mother? He screamed and pleaded frantically. I can give birth to things like that all over again. Ravi's listened to me. Unable to listen further, Young Minyu sliced his head clean off. Your reputation as a former member of the 12 black seats isn't worth a damn thing, is it? He groaned in pain. Ravi's Bindika. Who would have thought you would humiliate me like this? From Vin, he was now consumed by absolute fury and hatred. To think I'd die at the hands of Inia's son. As expected of Inia's, wailing bitterly, I won't accept this, I'll kill you. He delivered the finishing blow with a stomp, and he slowly began to fade away. Blood magic surged back into his eyes. It was over, the battle had ended. Street approached him and said, I knew it, you did it, Master Ravi's. He looked at his hand overtaken by blood magic and thought, she was a former member of the 12 black seats after all. Her power is truly overflowing. He paused but pulled a handkerchief from his coat, covering his nose against a mediocre and filthy stench. What a pointless waste of time. Street inquired about the two who had died, Master Ravi's, those twins, if Mara hadn't invaded the human world. She continued in a tone of mourning for their fate. I wonder if they could have lived happily with their real mother. Young Minyu thought for a moment and said, we'll never know. Looking at Young Minha, his younger sister lying unconscious before him, he continued, even when parents aren't demons. Then thinking of Young Tisik, the man unfit to be a father, he added, children can still die because of their parents' greed. From behind the door, a figure with a face identical to Jin Yihee's watched him with eyes full of admiration. It's done, now I must leave this place. But having been spotted, he called out to her, over there. She startled, seeing her flustered and trying to run away. He said, I've already seen you, so you can come out now. She felt incredibly embarrassed. No, please just pretend you didn't see me. He then ignored her, lazily saying, Velsha. At the mention of that name, Street jumped. Velsha, famed as a master weaponsmith, hailing from a traditional family of the demon realm. In shock, she continued, the youngest of the Murtano family, the one who received all the love and spoiling. That Velsha, the genius smith said to appear only once every 3,000 years. With a pensive gaze, he asked directly, so, why did you follow me all the way here? She jumped and stammered her explanation. Follow you, Bam said so. He said I'm a gift for you, big brother. The surprise was over, so I'm leaving now. After saying that, she tucked tail and ran. Street stared blankly at her, confused. Of all the noble ladies, she is the most reckless and arrogant, and is known for constantly clinging to Master Ravi's. But I'm certain that was Jin Yihee's face, wasn't it? Young Minyu gritted his teeth in anger. Why did he do this? Bam must have placed Velsha's soul into Jin Yihee's body. With a sharp gaze, he felt bitter and annoyed. This just made everything more complicated. Young Minyu crossed his arms in irritation, blaming him. Bam, you bastard. If I return to hell, Bam will be your subordinate. You can do whatever you want with. Street seemed very intrigued. Really? For how long? He grumpily declared, indefinitely. In the kingdom, where Bam sat enjoying afternoon tea. Across from him, Inias and Barca were chatting animatedly. Barca said, are you surprised? Thinking of that bloodsucking, he truly is my nephew. Inias replied sorrowfully, how cruel. She continued to ask, so what did Lavis do after that? He said with an admiring look, rumor has it that with that blood-sucking power, he severed her tentacles and crushed her head. Barca chattered away with a playful tone. Oh my, I'm so soft-hearted I don't dare tell more. My poor sister. Serious now, he said to Inias, if you're going to like something, like it properly. Don't just mince your words. She agreed, right, I do like it. Regardless, don't use Lavis anymore. Her sharp eyes glanced sideways at Barca, her voice slightly irritated. Did you handle it skillfully? That's enough for me. I haven't had a single day's peace knowing my son is in the human realm. Barca dodged the subject, pointing to the tea in her hand. The tea you're drinking is a precious specialty from the George family, isn't it? You've been drinking it all this time. Knowing he was intentionally changing the subject, she snapped back. That has nothing to do with this. Realizing he couldn't escape, he spoke casually to comfort her. Just joking. Now Lavis can use his true power. You don't need to worry anymore, just relax and enjoy your tea. But she had known everything for a long time. Are you all conspiring together? She turned her eyes to him and asked, what are you all planning? Hearing this, his expression turned to one of surprise. Even the great Demon King doesn't know. She replied, could it be that Gamute doesn't know Bam placed the bloodstone inside Lavis's body? She paused in horror as if she had just discovered something terrible. Don't tell me. She stood up aggressively. Are you planning to use Lavis to capture Morgas? He raised both hands with a delighted voice. Exact. Inias truly exploded upon hearing the news about her son, angrily grabbing Barca's neck and screaming, I'll kill you right now. Terrified, he urgently explained, no, Lavis wants to catch him too. How could I let my nephew's wish go to waste? The two bickered back and forth. She bit his head. You idiot, you should have died 1,000 years ago. He pleaded before her. It hurts, it hurts. This scene seemed all too familiar to Bam. He just sat there thinking, didn't these two siblings always want to kill each other in their past life? But then, setting down his teacup, he thought seriously again. Morgas, the ruler of death, the god who returns all existence to nothingness. When the wind of death blows, the heavens, hell, and the human realm will wither one by one. He rested his chin on his hand, his eyes scrutinizing carefully, a cruel creature that wants to devour mankind and re-establish the order of hell. Wherever you are, just wait a moment. Lavis is already on his way. On this side, Young Minyu was also taking care of his younger sister, who had just been brought back to her room. He looked down and thought, Young Minyu, the debt paid with your own body is considered settled. The mother rushed in. Why did she faint here when she was supposed to be practicing? Behind her was Young Tisik and a few people following her, asking worriedly, Minha Minyu, what's happening? Knowing how to deflect, he replied, it seems she got injured in the practice room. Young Tisik went berserk and cursed at him. You bastard, what did you do? She's a future idol. Young Minyu, was it you? Are you all plotting against her to harm me? His stinging words made her snap back as well. Why are you saying that? Both of you were against Minha becoming an idol. He seemed to lose all reason, only thinking of himself and cursing her back. Every time Minha appears online, the comments are all praising me. Are you trying to tarnish my image? Then he turned aggressively to the subordinate following him and ordered, all right, Kim, get the phone and film Minha. I'll say this happened because she was harassed. With greedy eyes, he laughed like a wild beast. That will draw more attention and sympathy. Isn't my idea just brilliant? Hearing this, Young Minyu seemed to reach his limit. He looked coldly at this creature who didn't know its place, glancing toward Young Tisik, his voice cold as ice. You. Before he could finish, she wailed, unable to take any more. Enough. Can you even see this child with your own eyes? He gritted his teeth. What? Then she turned and poured her heart out to his surprise. At first I thought you'd be a good father, but immediately after my father died, you stole all his money and prepared to run for office using my family's connections. She cried in pain. You even exploited Manhwa. I can't stand it anymore. He cut her off arrogantly. I'm the one who accepted a poor woman who ran away from home and your 2 children. Don't you remember your father thanking me and asking me to take care of you all? Then he roared back, blaming and cursing after swallowing his pride about the ex-husband. Now you're planning to kick me out, you ungrateful wretch. Looking at this wretched man before him, he was furious. Every word you utter is deathly foul. Does someone like you even deserve to be called human? His eyes stared straight at him, as if reaching the absolute peak of his limit. I can't tolerate this insolence anymore. Although I regret that I cannot kill in the human world, breaking a bone or 2. She couldn't restrain herself any longer and shouted aggressively, "Shut up, you piece of trash." He was startled, but his blood boiled even more. What? You dare say that to me? You dare silence me? Looking at Young Tae-sik with eyes of hatred, I've endured just to avoid hurting the children further. I tried to make sure they wouldn't lose a father for the 2nd time. You're a hypocrite. Is it all just for your image? Don't make me laugh. Blue veins began to pop on Young Tae-sik's face. Are you crazy? She placed her hand on her chest, her hatred turning into strength. She declared, listen here, I'm no longer here to be your lack. Her determined gaze made him bitter. From now on, I will be the hand that strangles you. At this point, he reconsidered. I once thought she was just a weak human. The scene reminded him, but this moment reminds me of my own mother. Young Tae-sik also turned furious. What? Who do you think you are to dare? In a grand setting, at a facility in the Middle East, a large dark-skinned man was pleading. What are you doing? Please stop, don't press the launch button. The figure in the black cloak seemed indifferent. Why isn't it working? The black man kept warning and advising. If you launch that, thousands of innocent civilians will die. He didn't listen to a single word and still casually pressed the button. His voice cold. Wasn't that your intention all along? The system lit up and the room immediately turned red. A warning that the missile launch command sequence had been activated. The black man screamed in bitter helplessness. Oh no, why did you do that? What is your true identity? He answered, I am a demon. The black man asked again, what did you just say? He turned back with an expression so coldly emotionless it made others fear. Go to the launch area and tell them that Morgas did this. At a cafe, someone's voice asks about your mother's divorce. Minyu crosses his arms, explaining that his mother can't get a divorce right now, or they won't be able to reclaim the family's money. He insists that such a thing must not happen. He grinds his teeth in a fit of rage, thinking of Tae-sung, the one he calls a bastard. He says Minyu wants to finish him off immediately, but since that's impossible, he turns to place all the responsibility on his gray-haired friend, Lim Sion, ordering him to find a way to get that money back. Sion is startled, panicking and not knowing what to do. Minyu reassures him that Sion is the smartest person he knows. Sion replies dejectedly that the only people Minyu knows are his family and Minyu himself. Suddenly, Sion shouts, reminding him that it was his friend who created the medicine delivery app. Sion quickly covers his friend's mouth, worried because they are in a public place. Minyu brushes the hand away and grumbles, signaling that they both should leave immediately. Minyu says they can go after handling that matter. Suddenly, a giant pink teddy bear with a red bow appears right in front of them. Minyu coldly orders the bear named Belsha to return to the demon realm. Meanwhile, the bear is busy inviting a couple to stay for coffee. Lim Sion wonders why the bear doesn't hear his friend's voice. Minyu explains that it won't talk if you look it straight in the face. He freezes, realizing that the teddy bear is actually Belsha, the genius weaponsmith. Sion asks curiously about his friend's relationship with Belsha. The scene shifts to Belsha's flashback. The story begins when Belsha was still in her mother's womb. A demonic figure named Ga Minhadair steps out from the forge. The demon lord had granted her father the eternal flame. Born in the forge, Belsha was scorched by the fire even before she could open her eyes. Her father, a demon, declared that the flame granted by the demon lord would guide the path she must walk. The fire burned her flesh, and the world around her was nothing but a blazing red. The only sensation was an unbearable heat. At the same time in the demon realm, a voice echoes in a gloomy cathedral, reporting to great demon King Ga Minhadair that the promised work is finally complete. Inside the cathedral, great demon King Ga Minhadair explains that this is the mouth of Cassidus, which sucks in the false oaths of traitors and turns them into punishing shards of ice. A work of art created from pain. Belsha's father proudly declares this to be a masterpiece crafted by the genius of the Miyatano bloodline. Ga Minhadair observes the mask and confirms Count Valdir's boast. He believes this mask will remain a masterpiece of the demon realm for many years to come. He asserts that the skill of this young demon girl can truly be called the pinnacle. Ga Minhader sighs, saying he envies Valdir for having a genius like Belsha, while his son Ravi's only gives him a headache. Belsha's father humbly replies that His Majesty's words weigh heavily on him, but Ga Minhader dismisses it, calling it the grumbling of an old king, and says he will accept the gift. Ga Minhader solemnly declares that from now on, the development of weapons in the demon realm will lie in the hands of the Mayano family, and he places his trust in them. That night at the family castle, her father turns to ask Belsha if she heard clearly that the noble demon lord praised the work she created. He flashes a devious smile. Then he looks back at Belsha, declaring that she is truly the greatest masterpiece their family has ever produced. But from a distance, a scream rings out. Belsha turns to look. The queen's scolding echoes, asking what he intends to do if the child who will become the future demon king continues to turn the nobles' territories into a sea of blood like this, and if he plans to destroy every single demon in the realm. Stating a sovereign must know how to bestow tolerance and altruism. The response is the scream of a young demon boy. He yells that forgiveness and mercy only diminish the dignity of a demon lord. A demon lord must be ruthless. Inayas then grabs Ravi, threatening to take him to see his ruthless uncle. The boy screams in terror, begging her not to do it. It was at that moment Belsha recalled that it was the first time she met Ravi's. His wild face created a stark contrast with her innocent curiosity. Time passes at the Demon Realm Castle. Belsha's flashback continues. Her father called her a work of art, and the flame guided her to become an alchemist. For 300 years, she worked with fire in the forge, crafting weapons through books and the study of alchemy. One day in the forge, a voice rings out, complaining to Belsha that this is unfair. An orange-haired girl angrily tattles that Kasri ate 3 of the hall fruits provided by the count herself, then used the excuse of cleaning the stables to send her away. From a distance, Kasri screams an explanation that she didn't mean to. She truly thought the stables needed cleaning, otherwise Lord Teton would hang her from the ceiling. The orange-haired girl is still resentful, insisting that Kasri should at least have had a conscience and only eaten 2 out of the 4. Belsha offers a solution for both, saying then Juan can take that portion of mine over there, so it's fair now. But the short-haired girl objects, saying she didn't get to eat yesterday, so today she must have 1 fruit, while Juan should have 2. Belsha indifferently flips a page of her book, muttering, "Fine, just eat." She doesn't care about their bickering. Juan changes the subject, hugging Belsha, and whining that the count is terrible for not allowing such a cute girl to attend any parties. Belsha smiles, explaining that her father said once he ascends to the Black Throne, she will be able to leave this place. The short-haired girl cheers happily, hoping that day comes soon. She excitedly says they will definitely take Belsha to the Demon Lord's castle to meet Prince Ravi. Hearing Prince Ravi's name, Belsha blushes and smiles shyly. Belsha recalled that for a girl who lived only in the forge, the daily stories of the maids, their jealousy, their friendship, and even their love stories were the only books that made her feel alive. Until that sad day arrived.